calculations. Oh, that's fine. That's but
RGBs,
playful RGBs. Oh, it's too much. The 1 watt it consumes is way too much.
You're just say it how you're making this about crypto, aren't you, John? Is that the joke you're making?
Yes, it is. You're just so upset. Oh, power consumption in the headphones. Oh, it's 0.5 watts per bulb. Probably not that high, actually, per bulb. It's too much. It's not the power consumption that disturbs you, Mike. It's not the fact that they light up. It's that someone is confident enough to wear what they want. Mike, I've seen what you've worn off cam. You can wear it on camera as well. One day we'll have the hoodie screen, and then you can finally be happy. You can join Thomas. You'll be comfy. It's all good, Michael Felix. We're in a DreamLeague. They might let you do that.
Well, why'd you have to make it about crypto, John? Well, I didn't bring crypto up, right?
No, because you're upset about the energy consumption on headphones. What energy consumption? What do you mean? An LED's like, again, 0.5 watts of that brightness. What energy consumption is that?
Too much energy listening to your crap, John. I'll be frank with you. Too much energy.
Imagine that, you wake up, it's a 3 a.m. cast, and I've been rambling for 20 minutes already. You're having a great time, Mike.
Doesn't seem like we'll see an early level 1 team fight, sadly, here between these two sides. Seems like they'll just perhaps take it easy. The Nouns are being a little bit more aggressive with their own positioning. Trying to scout around through the left side of the map, see if they can find an easy target for themselves, but not getting quite lucky. I'm still waiting around. Tianming, he's actually bringing the boys over. PYW and XM going to join in. Arme's going to cut off Gunner, though barely misses out on the Doom, so they aren't actually going to see anyone. But everyone gets out of there scot-free, though it is going to be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounties anyway, so pretty even start. It's like Yuma's trying to get a bit of chip damage onto XXS and does get away with it, but nothing to write home about. And as usual, Jonathan, I suppose we do start with the mid lane, where you're going to see XM on the mid Storm against Copy on the mid Ember, which really does take me back. This matchup I feel like we've just seen since we started casting, John. This one just never gets old.
Yeah, it just never goes away. And again, you've got static slide here for XM. You've got double impact for Copy. XM can just stand far away enough that he's not going to get double impacted anyhow. He can still play with a static remnant. He's still going to get farm. Key thing here is how badly can you impact the other side with poke into that level 6. You've got the range poke for XM. Slide of Fist can constantly hurt for Copy. Maybe a quick Blightstone timing can make this a little bit more annoying for XM if that's the way Copy wants to go. Rune control is a big part. Even the early, say, 4-minute Water Rune can massively impact that ride into level 6. So I'd like to see some emphasis on that early Rune control here for both sides in terms of stopping that tempo on mid.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very important with these spirit matchups, those damn power runes, and even the water runes, of course. Look at the top lane. You're going to see Lilith, of course, along with Gunner against Arme and Tianming. Bit of a tough lane here for Arme and Tianming, I want to say. Like, you can already see Lilith just being so annoying on this Dark Willow, and it does feel like Gunner is going to have himself a pretty decent style of lane here on the Doom. And certainly quite a bit of kill potential once he hit a few levels on this combination of Nouns, especially against Tianming. As bottom lane, they are actually making a jump in onto XXS. The PYW is going to be able to kind of force fly away, but Yuma is coming in. XXS is going to be able to be out of the sandstorm, but is still fine. Yuma not going to really chase him down too far, just wants to deny the creep wave. In fact, he's going in now. XXS showing up again. Is going to survive just barely, though Fly looking for a blood grenade, but does not quite land it. A nice attempt from Fly.
Quite a few resources being traded away. There are a couple of nice denies coming out from Yuma and Fly. With that creep wave pulled back, XXS just really needs a lot of EXP to start to play in this lane. Love that early pressure coming out from Nouns. You're having a great time farming up in this morph. Again, no natural answers for that sprint shifting that we'll see later on here for Yuma. No real great Spirit Vessel carriers either. Maybe PYW could gun for that if he does manage to get the space. All they can do right now on the side of Xtreme is get these constant pullbacks and get this free XP going for their Tusk and for their Sand King as best as they can. But you just surrender that lane to Yuma. Yuma's just not going to be contested. He's going to be able to farm up. The one blessing you have here for Xtreme is that Ame should still be able to keep up that farm pace as a Luna, no matter what happens in her lane, especially if you manage to get some space to stack the triangle. The issue right now is you don't really have the space for these supports to try to build up that economy. So the catch-up game or the pacing game for Ame is going to be maybe a little bit slower with a stronger start for Morph, but your timings early for Luna should still line up as long as, again, you're not getting bullied by this Doom. And Gunnar is keeping pace, but Ame's not really fully shoved out of this lane either.
Gunnar's actually holding on to his skill points as well, sitting at level 3, but just has level 1 Infernal Blade up, so just doesn't quite know how he wants to play this Doom quite yet. Which is fair enough, because you can go the greedier route, you know, just hold on to those skill points just in case you want to play a bit more of a passive early style of game here for Gunnar. In fact, he does go the 1-1-1, so bit of utility build here for Gunnar, and does seem like he's going to try and abuse the Devour just a little bit. Meanwhile, mid lane, it does feel as though things are pretty even between XM and Copy. Copy finding himself 1 CS ahead, but it is a very even affair as PYW now going to intervene. It does actually swipe away the Water Rune from Copy. Even gets a cheeky shards out there on his way out. Though XM also loses his own Water Rune now because Lelis is guarding it. So it seems like Copy should at least be able to get that Water Rune up top. And XM is actually the one to miss out.
Yeah. Again, rotations for these 4-minute Water Runes kind of big. You get a lot more economy for Copy to play with in terms of his HP and mana. XM has no refill, no one's dead. He has some stick charges, but it's not going to be enough in comparison to what Copy can do now at level 4 with his Sleight of Fist up at level 2. The slight level advantage for XM is nice, but not nearly nice enough when you don't have mana to keep spamming out that Static Remnant with the Overload. Copy should be able to equalize and does hit that 5-2-3-0 now on the Ember in terms of skill build. And this is where it's really painful for the Storm. He does have that early Blightstone plus the Blades of Attack for Copy, so every single time he gets the Sleight off, even without double impact, you're still feeling pretty damn good here for Copy.
You certainly are. Copy having a great old time here to start this game 1 off. Fly and PYW are going to run into each other now. Fly, he does have the Icarus Dive available if he needs it. And PYW not even going to bother really trying to kill off Fly. Meanwhile, XXS has been allowed a bit of space now, but Yuma is still top of the CS board in this Morphling, so at the very least, XXS is now able to catch up in terms of his own farm and XP, but Yuma's pretty much got the perfect start in this Morphling. Like, you really couldn't have asked for much more.
No. Again, not much laning pressure coming out from XXS. They've got some early sentries as well to watch here from the side of Nouns, so you're fairly well protected on Yuma. You don't have anything to punish HP regen with shifting around here for the Morphling, so it's very easy to keep staying true. And it is a fairly durable hero when he does get to shift into strength, so you can afford to leave it alone. Lots of emphasis on mid here, but a straight TP out from PYW as Copy will just get the power in himself.
Top lane, Tianming in big trouble here. Should go down and does. Gunnar going to be able to secure first blood very nicely on the Doom, and as you can see, PYW, he does show up and they might give it a crack at Gunnar. He's not the easiest target to take down. The Gunnar going to go for the TP attempt away, and Ame could not get a Lucent Beam in time. Very nice TP from Gunnar right on the edge. Doesn't even break his sweat, Jonathan. Back towards the top T1 tower he goes.
And this is pretty painful for PYW. We saw him again pulling quite a fair bit, trying to create space for XXS. He just got level 2 to get tag team off. Didn't have Snowball to save Tianming. And he's still stuck at level 2. He'll try with his deep dive onto Lelis.
Pretty deep. PYW, he's barely able to make it out. In fact, Gunnar's going to move back in now, along with Copy, trying to go after Ame. To land those level 2 chains. Ame in the middle of nowhere right now, needing to run, but I don't think he can make it. The PYW, he gets his way out, but you lose Ame for that. At the very least, PYW does manage to swipe away the Wisdom Rune, but Fly got the other one anyway. Nice shards though, PYW getting to the low ground does find a courier. So a bit more value here for PYW, but he is eventually, surely going to have to die. And the chains will land.
Oh. Did try to deny, but yeah, at the least something's improving for Xtreme. You get level 3 off for PYW. They don't lose both Wisdom Runes. They did lose their own, but you do trade 1 for 1, so you are getting some EXP gain now on these pretty starved out supports, especially on your Tusk 4. You're still in a very strong spot for now, and so you're getting some freebie kills for Copy. Phase Boots is going to be delayed by a minute. Not the most crucial timing in the world, considering that you've got the levels and damage to back it up. And that is free space for XM on mid. They're fighting again, though.
Yeah, PYW getting caught with his pants down, trying to secure a power rune here for his Storm, but it is not going to work out. An arcane rune picked up by Copy, and I'll tell you again, John, Nouns, they're off to a very strong start. And the all power rune's going to Copy. He's already got 2 kills on the Ember. And laning-wise, Xtreme, they just have not had a good time. I mean, Arme's still farming very effectively, but that's to be expected. Top. Eclipse top. They're going to try for Gunner. Fly is around. Gunner's still alive. The zip in from XM should secure the kill and does. That's a nice pickle.
Finally some decent punishment coming out here for Xtreme. Nice kill to take. And again, Xtreme, they're getting some space out. It's relieving some of that pressure onto Ame. They get a good use out of the first Eclipse. They're still not able to connect as well, but you are getting some free galvanized stacks up for XM. Still needs that initial item to be up. Might be fighting over these wards.
Lilith, he'll be okay to get away. Fly dropping quite low as well. Doesn't have level 6, but PYW is actually the one to drop first, as Fly does eventually fall, but now XM needs a way out and does zip away, but they're gonna have to leave the CM behind. So Tianming will accept his own death. Copy will take his 3rd kill of the game, and that's still a very good trade for the side of Nouns, a 2-for-1 special. You can't complain about that, and I mean, Nouns, considering how strong they feel right now, they might actually just commit for the T1 mid tower. I mean, Siege Creep is going to be up in 30 seconds, and Gunner's got Doom available, so you might just want to stick around and commit.
They can just go for that slow, steady push. Not a lot of defensive options left for Xtreme Gaming this early on. The main reason why they can't clump up as a team is because XXS is just not ready. The Sand King still needs some more build-up. He's opting for the Bloodstone Rush first, and generally what you see when you've got Sand Shroud, you're not going to be seeing anything to initiate anytime soon, so don't have an easy way to jump in. They'll catch Copy out, though.
They certainly will. Copy in trouble, but nice permanent away. We'll be fine. At the very least, XM does get himself a consolation prize with the double, or rather the amp damage rune as they call it now. So finally gets himself a power rune on this Storm. He'll be happy about that, and in fact they are going to go for an immediate smoke up top. See if they can find Gunner another time, or even Yuma on the Morphling would be a much nicer target if they could catch him. Again, amp damage rune going to make things a lot easier against this Morphling if they can get the stun lock. But it seems as though Nouns got an actual read on this movement, and they do back off. That Copy mid lane's actually just chasing PYW now. PYW going to be fine. XM joining in the mid lane, trying to chase down Lelis, but can't quite kill him off through the Shadow Realm. XM going to get stunned up, and it seems like this amp damage rune is going to amount to nothing. In fact, now Gunner shows up. They're going to go for the push.
Yep, and again, just no defense coming out here for Xtreme. Great scan to break off that smoke play. Big tower to take. Gunner's still hungry to take more, and Doom is still waiting to be used. Might not need it for PYW if they manage to get some more control, but it is just 3 heroes. They kind of already popped their control. 6-3 start for Nouns. Less than 1k, well, around 1k lead coming out from them. And coming out from pretty much all on Ame in terms of trying to build up, and from how active Gunner's being. He's not as rich as he could be on that Doom. Still poking and prodding. They're really not giving that much room out for XM. They understand if the Storm starts to run away with the game, you're very reliant on just dooming that one target and hoping everyone else will just fall apart after XM's dead. Might be able to catch him out here still, though.
Hey, is out. Ensnare from Gunner. Perfect setup. What you love to see, and it's another thing for Gunner, right? Like, he's got the ensnare. He managed to get one of those little creeps from the Dark Troll Summoner, but with that now, you have the perfect setup for the Storm Spirit every single time. As Ame now getting pushed top lane, being chased by Fly and Yuma, will pop the Eclipse and try to fight back. He'll take Fly with him, but it seems as though Ame is being left by himself to die up at top lane. There will be no TP rotations to come from Xtreme. So yeah, at least he takes Fly along with him, but it's not a great kill to see if you're Xtreme Game.
That it isn't. And again, Ame's top net worth for Xtreme. He's been the guy getting all of the space. XM's the one being hunted down. Now it feels like the guy who's actually being prioritized is XXS. He's not rotating into these fights. He's not getting attention onto himself either. He's still getting that build up into the Bloodstone, but this investment has to pay off. Feels like the Bloodstone alone isn't really the Sand King's big shining point.
Copy's really having a great game here, John. 4-0-3 now on the Ember, just absolutely uncontested as Gunner's going to drop top lane. So a nice trade this time around for Xtreme as they do find the off lane for a position 4. And they'll be very, very happy with that. But going back to Copy, he's 4-0-3 already in this Ember, John. He's having a perfect game thus far.
And he is. Again, your hold from Xtreme, you do have some form of hold. And Frostbite can be nice. A Burst Strike can be good from XXS if he had a way to gap close. Again, you're gunning for Bloodstone still. So until those tools are up, Copy's just going to eat for free.
I mean, it's very hard to play CM against an Ember that's off to this good of a start. And, well, this time Lelis will take the kill for himself on the Dark Willow. But, well, again, Nouns are just having a fantastic time here in this game one thus far. Of course, Yuma is still top of the net worth board as well on the Morphling. He is still uncontested when it comes to the farm department. And nobody is slowing this man down anytime soon, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's just been left to his own devices. He's got the full Vlad's up, has the Yasha in, just needs the Manta style recipe to finish up here into the BKB, into your typical phylactery Conda build up. And again, the side of Xtreme is they're just falling apart. They catch again.
Oh, Copy! Very quick reaction, just remnanting as soon as XM tried to zip in. Very, very nice, and they won't find the kill onto PYW, but they're forcing 4 to stick together here for Xtreme Gaming. In fact, make that 5 as they're just huddling around Arme. Meanwhile, now they're trying to pressure. They want more gank attempts here, and they might have their wish very soon. The problem is Xtreme are ready to fight by the looks of it. XXS going to rejoin his team now. Mind you, he's only the energy booster off of having the Bloodstone available, so he'd much rather be farming at the moment on the Sand King, but definitely feels the need to kind of intervene and join his team a little bit.
Yeah, at least, again, take away that pressure, start to try to get some attention onto himself, as XXS was the one hero from the side of Xtreme that has literally done nothing this game. 0-0-0 on the Sand King, nothing happened down bot, no rotations came in bot, he never left bot lane. So he's got to try to get some space out for everyone else now that his items are lining in. A smoke out from Nouns, though, might be able to start to get some punishment onto that Sand King who's been left alone.
XXS is going to be just fine to back off. Nouns instead, they might run up top because XM was showing on the creep wave. In fact, XM will be a fantastic pick off here if they can lock him down. Gunner looking to wrap around, get that ensnare off. In fact, they'll get the chains. That's the setup they're looking for. No ensnare necessary this time. And of course, XM realizing he has no chance of getting away will just die as we are going to see the CM trying to get through the twin gates and does actually make it. So she's going to be alright for now, but Copy's on the chase. Copy with no remorses, even mid lane, XXS being caught, does barely get away. And somehow Tian Ming's actually made it out as well for now. Copy does not find him.
Yep. Nighttime vision just a little bit challenging with that delay through the gate. Does manage to get a deep ward as well for Tian Ming. They're still tier 1, so this ward can have some good use here for Xtreme if they want to start to focus on some objectives. With a Bloodstone fully up in XXS, this could be time to play. Epicenter is still ready to go. And we'll try to sneak around with the smoke. Again, at the least you could take this tier 1. You are hoping for a response out from Nouns if they get greedy and try to defend. Unfortunately, no one else from Nouns hanging across on their side of the river. They've got complete control of the map. They're playing right across, they're shoving into the tier 2s, they're keeping 2 lanes in check. And with all this time spent for Xtreme, it does start to get suspicious when no one's showing in to try to play in their own jungle, taking over here.
Maybe they could try to set up on Copy, but he's quite a hard target to lock down. You haven't really got a blink up on XXS or anything like that. PYW doesn't really have the best gap close either at the moment of the task, so you're really relying on XM trying to get the Vortex off in time. XXS trying to break the gap, but they just can't do it. It's just so difficult unless you land that initial Vortex, and even then, it's only 1.1 second of stun right now. It's not a very long time for setup.
They also were just channeling right outside of the...
Copy. He's been caught, but another remnant. Another remnant, perfect just escape here from Copy. And Arme, that was the Eclipse being popped for that.
And that's no kills. Again, the control for the side of Xtreme is...
Mid?
Oh.
They're still hunting Copy here, John. They're still trying. Well, at least he's out of remnants now, John. Maybe next time.
Maybe next. They need to use the snowball punch plus the frostbite perfectly and focusing that target down. And if Copy manages to get a slight right before being caught out, the Mage Slayer debuff just makes it extra painful to try to burst this Ember down. Meanwhile, XXS already being hunted up top here.
Strike is out from Yuma. XXS going to try and burrow strike his way out of there, but the chain's already landed, so he is gone. Oh, I'll tell you, Nouns are playing a really clean game, one so far. I mean, everything's just gone splendidly. Lanes went well, cores are farming well. They're just, every gank they go for just works out perfectly for them. Like, it's very clean gameplay is what I'm trying to say here, Jonathan.
Yeah. And again, we're seeing that steady improvement, that steady rise we've seen from Nouns from a couple of the tournaments they've most recently played. It does feel like it's shaping into a stronger and stronger team.
Oh, he's got him again. He has got him again, Jonathan. Gunner with this snare is making life impossible for poor old XM. Every time he sees his Storm and lands that in snare, it is just game over for the Storm. There's just no two ways about it.
Yeah, it's straightforward.
Copy.
Like it's shaping into a stronger and stronger team.
Oh, he's got him again. He has got him again, Jonathan. Gunner with this snare is making life impossible for poor old XM. Every time he sees his Storm and lands that in snare, it is just game over for the Storm. There's just no two ways about it.
Yeah, it's straightforward. Copy.
Can they kill him? This time, surely they've got him, and they do. That's a big pick-off. Copy, he was worth quite a bit of gold, and XXS will take it all.
Should accelerate this blink timing we're looking for on XXS. Leads into a nice siege onto the mid as well. You are seeing some signs of life from Xtreme. They don't perfectly stack their stuns, but they do have enough burst damage that you don't need to be concerned about the Ember slipping away at the very least. Again, you still have issues to patch up here on Xtreme. You need some way of blocking of the Doom. The BKB could be one big part for XM, at least getting out of the end snare alone might be enough to allow him a window to just zip away, and that could be the difference maker for him to look for opportunities into Nouns if he does manage to get to that point. Not too far off from that BKB recipe as well. Yuma just looking to clear out the Tormentors solo, and I don't think that's how it works. Yuma will back off at the very least before he does something silly. I was worried he was going to shift further into Agi. I figured, would have been funny at least. Didn't see that
would have
before.
been funny. Doesn't happen though, sadly. Blink Dagger are now up on XXS, so you do finally have that big initiation you've been looking for on this tanking. Because that kill on Copy really helped him out. It gave him about 900 gold directly towards the Sand King, so happy days as they do finally take the Tormentor now. Fly getting a free shots from Sorf on the Phoenix. But now with this blink up on the Sand King, I mean, you might want to start to try and be maybe a little bit more aggressive as Xtreme. Though I say that, and I suppose in some sense you've got the counter initiation now available as well with the blink up. So they might just play slow, allow your army the farm, and just, if they come to us, we'll just kill them.
I'll take your tribute.
I feel like the scaling is relatively even. It's all down to, again, execution. It does feel like there's a couple of situations where Xtreme feels easier to execute. In later game scenario, it's still a little bit early to theorize that, but say a blink timing plus maybe an Ags for PYW, things start to simplify a little bit more here for the side of Xtreme. There's potential utility for Nouns as well, with down the line maybe a refresh or an Octarine up for Gunner to keep that tempo up. An Ags build up as well, and Doom could be nice. I don't think it's all over for Nouns if they slow down the pace here. I think the Luna versus Morphling matchup is, again, relatively even. It's all down to execution, and it doesn't fully simplify for either side in an equal farm state. And you've only got a 2k lead for Nouns. At 22 minutes, that's not a big amount.
Well, Nouns are hunting here, Jonathan. This could be a big fight for Xtreme if they do huddle together, but they are missing XXS, who's farming the top side of the map right now. Gunner's got to blink up, so he can initiate with this this War Stomp that he does now have available. We see PYW eventually does make the jump in. Doesn't really want to commit Doom for this kill, and he will not. So let's PYW go. With that, Nouns not really able to make much work with the smoke, but they are going to rotate into the Roshan pit, so it seems like they probably will still get something very valuable out of this smoke attempt. Question is, do Xtreme Gaming try to fight this one out? And considering they just took the Tormentor, the answer is probably going to be just no. But they do scan, but the XM is probably your only hope of really getting a steal away, and he's nowhere near the Roshan pit.
Goes a little bit too fast with the damage available from Yuma. Secondary life for the Morphling's gonna feel really nice for now and try to force into the tier 2s and shrink the map fully, prevent Xtreme Gaming from keeping this farm parity. Again, you look at the net worth, you had a nice early lead from Nouns. Xtreme has managed to even out to basically 50-50 in terms of, at the very least, the net worth advantage. Both sides are near equal. And from an equal position, you don't really mind for Xtreme's side. And you allow this recovery process for XM. He's got the BKB, doesn't need to worry about the initial stun from the Doom to line into the Doom usage itself. They'll actually smoke into the Aegis fight here as well.
The lifeline copy again. Blinken is there. XXS gets the burrow strike off, and XM, he's back with the follow-up with the Vortex, but it's not enough. Copy's still perfectly fine. He remnants away, and in we go. PYW, he's the target now. He is gone, and Gunner's gonna find another. They will pick up the storm, though the BKB TP away is there, and it's going to matter. It's going to be just enough, but he might just die in the fountain. And he will. They've got enough damage. That's unfortunate. That's your first BKB charge being committed on top. And it just doesn't even save them. There's now Tianming also being chased top lane. Copy's going to find him. Tianming is gone. That's 3 down for the price of nothing, John. Oh, make it 4, perhaps. Gunner? Well, he's the one running. BKB has been forced, though it is about to wear off. No blink available quite yet. Gunner, in fact, he barely gets off in time. PYW trying to fight, trying to find some more targets here to set up for the Sand King, but he is the one now being hunted, as PYW will go down. Just one after the other, Xtreme Gaming continue to fall.
And that's all off the back of one tiny mistake. It felt like PYW was a little bit too far with a snowball into the punch. Didn't manage to get the punch off onto the Ember. They just needed, what, 0.5 more seconds of control to get that kill onto the Ember Spirit to equalize. And again, try and kind of fight into this Aegis nicely. They start to stream in one by one. They get picked off. Just a rough time for Xtreme, but really great read from Nouns. Now, they managed to capitalize on these small openings. They take a tier 2 on mid. They're ready to fight up top again if they wanted to. No Doom, but 40-second cooldown for Gunner. Not the longest to wait for. Still have a lot of time left in this Aegis as well. 2.5 minutes. Yuma's already got the phylactery set to fly out into the full Conda, which is still a ways off, but the damage output is starting to scale into the point where it gets a little bit ridiculous for the Morphling.
Copy's going to find a casual chains onto Arme there, but there's no real backup here to try and chase down the Luna. At least they know where Arme is farming at the moment. Rest of Nouns, they are starting to group up in the mid lane. Because the rest of Xtreme Gaming also grouped up on the top lane. They are starting to rotate into the mid lane themselves now. Copy's going to rejoin his team after taking a substantial amount of damage from Arme, but is going to still be alive as they are pinging out XM, but XM will zip out just fine. So Nouns, they're still just trying to establish map control completely here against Xtreme, but Xtreme are still finding some great farm, though Arme in trouble now as they try to pincer him in down to this bottom side of the map. Nice juking from Arme, though. Does he make it out? Oh, he certainly does. Gunner, so close yet so far.
Is under attack.
This is a lot of time commitment out from Nouns for the hunt, eating into a little bit more of that Aegis. Again, they've only found one tier 2 so far, doing a fine job farming, but Xtreme are still able to equalize. They find a tier 1 top off of that space. They've got more development coming in, full BKB for XXS on top of that blink we saw a while ago into full Shivas. They'll smoke up now on Nouns, and they've got Doom back up on Gunner. They might get jumped by Xtreme first with his clump up on Triangle.
They're gonna say fly, but he's got level 2 egg available if he can get it off in time. He'll pop the pipe, but it's not quite in. He does drop Xtreme. Oh, they even found a courier with Copy's BKB on it.
Look at this.
That's massive.
They're taking the northern route.
They certainly are. They still want to fight even without this BKB available now as XM. He is going to get chained up. Yuma, meanwhile, trying to go into the backside. They'll get the Doom off onto the Storm, and he is TPing away, but it won't really matter. He'll die in the fountain again. There is no saving the poor man.
To the last breath.
I've seen this one before.
Spirit. Shut up.
Yeah. It's BKB use number 2, leading to the exact same result as last time. Again, I appreciate that play from Xtreme, cutting into the triangle, finding that one isolated target, but they had no vision bot. They have really no forward vision whatsoever on Xtreme, and that just allows Nouns to do that really funky gank through the gate from up top, northern route into the rear. Not something you see every day, but Nouns, again, they've got the map control to back it up. Xtreme just playing with very little information, maybe expect everyone else to flank from, say, mid lane or the right side, the bottom jungle into that top lane, and you don't expect them to just charge right at you from your own creep wave. 19-7, 2K lead for Nouns. And considering this game state, a 2K lead is not that much at 28.5 minutes, but the momentum certainly is there for Nouns. Doesn't feel like Xtreme's able to play into the value of their lineup just yet, especially for XM. He's going back for the Lincolns now after finishing up the Kaya. 2 parts away, still a ways off in terms of net worth to reach that point. And it's just unplayable for the Storm. Until Lincolns is up, BKB, it just doesn't cut it for XM here.
Well, here we go again. Nouns, they are grouped up in that dire triangle, but a big smoke out now from Xtreme. A 5-man smoke attempt. They want to try and force a fight. Fly's in prime position to break that smoke, but he does move at just the wrong moment. Still, Arme does have his own smoke broken, trying to chase down Copy, but a nice remnant away, avoiding the burrow strike of XXS. And that'll be a failed smoke attempt now by Xtreme Gaming. Back to the drawing board for this dire side, I think. And sadly, there's no real objectives for them to take. If they'll get into that Radiant Triangle and keep the farm going, but there is nothing for them to really try and secure here, apart from some creeps. And I think Nouns, they might slowly start to group up and go for their own smoke very, very soon. Especially once Copy's courier does respawn, and it has now. So BKB on the way. They've already grouped up as 5, and it's time to go.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
XXS? Does he show mid lane? He won't quite yet. A nice arcane rune down at the bottom rune spot, but nobody spots it out either. Gunner wrapping around. Oh, they might find XM. Poor old XM just can't catch a break. He just can't catch a break, this poor guy. Tianming at least gets a TP away on the CM. XM, he's trying so hard to get to that Lincoln Sphere timing to try and avoid all this happening, but it's still a ways off.
And it is. And again, there's only so much space you can safely take. He's already in a relatively safe part of the map in his own jungle. Just the timing for the smoke for now, it's panning out once again. 20-7, 3K lead for now, and slowly building up. Not by a significant amount just yet, but again, the tempo is on their side. They're the ones making all of these plays. They've got control of the map. Xtreme are the ones kind of just scrounging whatever they can find. Still in a position to force something out here for now, so don't.
They're gonna find Fly. Not the biggest kill in the world, but they'll take it. There's certainly something in some dire times. Yes, Jonathan?
We've seen an egg this game, Mike. I don't think we have we?
No.
Not necessary.
No. I mean, he really hasn't been, though, has it?
No, really hasn't. I mean, he even got the shard. He's not even getting to use that because he can't even pop into egg anyhow. The only time Fly's dying is when he's caught out, which is honestly the ideal scenario for Nouns is Fly dying and he's like, what, 5 of the 8 kills of Xtreme? They need higher priority targets on Xtreme. Fly's always cutting them off. And the lack of information for Xtreme's hurting them. They are at least getting some D wards into that bot jungle now. Let's see if they can plant some forward wards as well to try to get this jump in. They've got the blink on PYW, which can help. Snowball saves, instant punches to keep that chain control onto key targets like, say, Poppy, and provide some opportunities here. It just feels like it's lacking. With all of the BKBs up, the investment in XXS, it starts to fade away a little bit. They'll try to clump around this position on the cliff. They do have their ward instantly spotted out, though.
XM's got to be so careful here, Johnny. He still doesn't have that Lincoln Spear. Gunner's going to try and jump in, but misses out on the stunners. They do get an epicenter off onto Yuma. Yuma's dropping a lot of HP, but he's still going to man up and fight back. XXS and PYW both gone already. That they do at least kill off Fly and the Phoenix, but it will not matter. They lose Tianming on top. That's 3 down. XM almost out of mana, trying to get away, but the Curse Crown will land and lock him down within the brambles, but he still gets a bit of mana off to get away. As now Arme pops an Eclipse. Gunner has gone a bit far, but they're still going to find Arme anyway. So you lose your Doom, but it won't really matter too much if you can get the Luna. Everybody else from Xtreme Gaming just trying to get the hell away, as Nouns will win another big team fight. And PYW desperately trying to get towards a Roshan because he just bought back. But they see him. They know he's there. He's got no TP either.
Radiant are scanning.
That should be a dieback coming for PYW unless they just don't check the corner. But they will.
Oh,
Yuma's
no,
found it.
dead.
Yeah. Snowball will only buy so much time, but that'll be a dieback here for PYW on top.
And the sad thing about that for Xtreme is that that was likely the best case scenario for them. Maybe not ideal with Gunner jumping in as XXS gets to jump in, but the Doom from Gunner landed on XXS after Epicenter came out, after the Sandstorm's used. So your Sand King already got out all of his spells right before getting Doom. You provide the space for XM to try to dance around. The damage was just lacking. They couldn't get a decent position for Ame to commit a good Eclipse across everyone. He doesn't have anything like the Butterfly up yet to really provide a steroid here for the Luna. And it just falls flat. Again, these BKBs on Nouns feel much more impactful than BKBs on the side of Xtreme. Because for Xtreme, even with a BKB, we've seen the effects of it coming out from Gunner. It doesn't matter. He still has Doom. He can still find these squishy supports. Whereas when Nouns have their own BKBs, you're cutting out XM's damage, you're cutting out this Luna's damage for Ame, you're cutting out the Sand King's burst damage with Epicenter and the Sandstorm. Like, almost all of your damage sources right now in Xtreme is just magical. And even before that, like, the Sleight of Fist with the Mage Slayer already from copy earlier on already made this game a headache for you on Xtreme. You kind of need to just try and hope that Ame can become a physical beast somehow with this game. A Butterfly, maybe a Satanic, or likely a Daedalus kind of fixes some of those issues, but a lack of sustain for Luna in these kinds of fights also doesn't feel that good.
Are scanning.
Certainly does not.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Tormentor now taken. Gunner will get a free shot for himself on the Doom. Still dies straight here for Xtreme. I mean, they're not too far behind in the net worth department, but that's mostly just Arme keeping his team afloat here with his own net worth on the Luna. But Arme certainly doesn't feel like he can 1v5 at the moment. I don't even know if Luna can really do it these days, Jonathan. It's just, you know, it's been a bit hard for Arme once this human Morphling gets on top of him to be able to sustain through those right clicks. They have found Tianming here down on the bottom side of the map. Tianming gonna have his TP cancelled immediately by the Brambles of Lilith. It'll be a nice easy kill here for Lilith to take himself on the Dark Willow's top lane. They are going to try and force another fight. XM looks like he's the target though. No, Gunner's dropping too much HP and he's gone. Gunner will lose his own life. XM trying to TP, but no, he's going to die. Oh, the BKB wore off just in the nick of time and the Lincoln's was broken perfectly. So, I mean, it was a nice start. You kill off Gunner, but XM dies again. That's just not going to feel very good.
And the worst thing about it was that Gunner dies without using Doom. So that was already, like, you know, kind of alright for Xtreme. Not the ideal. XXS gets caught out now as well.
He certainly does. I mean, he's going to try for a bow strike away, but Yuma will just continue to try and chase him down. Like, never mind. He'll give up on it. At the very least, XXS able to get away with his life intact, but I mean, this game is getting more and more challenging here for the side of Xtreme Gaming. At least Dota2 is still giving them a 37% win chance right now, so it's not too dire quite yet. But as time does go on, I mean, this Morphling, he's not getting any easier to deal with.
No. Certainly not. Ken, you've got some repositional plays here. Fly...
just pops the egg, you know, realizes he's probably not going to survive. PYW may not survive himself now as he'll try to go for a run. Does at least avoid the egg stun, but it won't really matter in the end. Copy does pick him off. It does cost you an egg, but well, let's be frank. I mean, that's probably the first egg we've seen so far this game, John. I don't think Fly's gonna buy.
I think it's the second egg. I think Fly died in egg in one of these fights earlier on. So second egg usage, he survives through it. Kind of a 1 for 1 on the egg usage so far. They've got Roche banner ready still. They've got Aegis still on the side of Nouns. Nothing stopped them from the high ground. XM will try to poke and prod. There is still the Doom ready on Gunner as long as they manage to pop that Lincoln's. So there is still that threat. Even a refresh for Yuma. Double BKB, double Satanic, double Morph if the cooldown's a little too long. And yeah, they'll just get that siege. Banner up, Yuma, he's just fine.
A jump in. Doom does not come out onto XXS quite yet. He'll manage to barely get away. Gunner not going to be able to chase him down either. Still 40 seconds left on the Aegis for Yuma. XM going to try and take it early, but Yuma is pretty damn tanky on this Morphling. He might just want to die anyway for the free reset. And in fact, I think he's trying to... No, he is not. He doesn't know what he wants here, Yuma. With 20 seconds left, looks like he's not gonna risk. Though Ame is chasing. Yuma is okay. Instead, Gunner being jumped, but gets the Doom off onto XXS just in the nick of time, so the Sand King will drop. They do get Fly and Copy though, so it's a very successful attempt here by Xtreme. That's gonna be about it. So that's probably the best team fight we've seen from Xtreme in quite a while, actually. Be able to find a successful trade their way, and well, of course Nouns, they are forced to retreat.
2 for 1 coming out here for Xtreme. They did lose their, at the very least it's only the ranged racks here for Xtreme up top, so it's not the worst scenario to be in, being a racks behind for the side of Xtreme Gaming. They still have, again, some scaling left. Side of Vicer XM should start to simplify again, allowing them some instant control, which has been a consistent issue, especially when they've been trying to catch out Copy a couple of times. So this should improve that. The decision-making from Gunner there kind of made it a little bit more difficult for Nouns to try to turn it around as well. Like, they saw XM coming around, they had no way to pop Lincoln, so he's forced to just straight up Doom XXS, try to take the Sand King out of the picture, look for a trade. But that, again, just allows XM to dance around. You need to find a way of just having a secondary pop. It feels like relying fully on Yuma to just break Lincolns might be a little bit rough with how they're positioning themselves here on Nouns, but you don't have anything yet on Gunner to kind of get that done either. He does have the full Ags done though, so maybe now you just don't even care about Lincolns, I suppose. Just doom everyone.
True. It's one way to do it. T2 bottom tower does get taken down by Xtreme. It's like Nouns are looking for a smoke attempt once again. Looking at XM, he's trying to get a Hex up on this Storm Spirit. That'll be massive for his side if he can get it in time. More Lincoln Spheres coming out as well. Of course, XSS trying to farm his own, but probably going to decide better of it once he sees the Ags on the Doom. Both sides starting to group up with each other, so it could be a smoke on smoke scenario, and in fact, it is going to be exactly that. Gunner leading the Lions here as Xtreme just waiting patiently. They'll run right into XXS. XSS with a beautiful barrow strike out. Gunner might just get blown up, and he does. He is already gone. Yuma trying to man fight in the middle of all this, but he's just taking so much damage from Ame. He's forced to back away. Try to reset here for Nouns. It's Xtreme. They should be the ones going for a chase now, knowing that Gunner is dead for another 75 seconds. But they won't be able to find anyone. Nouns are out of there.
Yeah. And have to be a little bit careful on Nouns getting into these fights in a pretty fragmented order. They've lost a little bit of that vision control they had earlier on in the game. Not as many wards watching across the river. Xtreme has a little bit more reach, especially with this bot ward, but not even relevant in that jump in. You are reliant still on Gunner. You're very reliant on this Doom going off. And one little loss like that, you're still playing up against a Luna with a full butterfly up. Tier 2's fall, high ground starts to get ripped apart. You don't have buyback on Gunner, at least you have the fortify to stall for a little bit. Ame has an ample opportunity here to just even out the game again. What was the 10k net worth lead down to 3k should even out to 2 to 1k with all of these objectives taken. And that's all within this window where Gunner's just dead.
Yeah, I mean, they might just go for another. In fact, they're going to play it safe. I think Ame is very close to having the completed Swift Blink up. In fact, he has the gold for it. But with that, I mean, Xtreme Gaming, they're just going to take it easy. Sit back and relax for a little bit, come back later on, and well, for Nouns, I mean, you got to feel a little bit silly because you've given a pretty big lead away.
Dire's top barracks.
Yeah,
are
you
under
have
attack.
you have to be a little bit cautious here. You've got to be, you know, again, you can't afford to give out Gunner. Again, 10k lead down to 1k, recovers to 2k here. Smoke out from Nouns. They know the next rush is going to be that focal point. Xtreme's already there, though. They've got the ward set up. They've got the smokes out. The scan is there as well, though. So it's going to be an interesting back and forth here.
Good forward from XM. Not going to initiate quite yet. Both sides being very patient. Of course, this next Roshan going to be extremely important. UIW who have his smoke broken. Chains are out. They're going to try and burst him down, but they got to hex out onto the Morphling. Yuma, he is gone.
Oh.
He'll buy back immediately. Meanwhile, Gunner dropping pretty fast as well. Arme finding a double kill. Meanwhile, Copy, he's going to jump back in, see if he can find himself a CM kill, but I think Xtreme Gaming, they'll be very happy with the way this team fight's worked out. Mind you, they have kind of left the Roshan pit. So Roshan still could go the way of Nouns.
Yeah, and this should cover Yuma's buyback quite nicely to get another banner to try to rip into that high ground. But all things considered, that's a very happy exchange for the side of Xtreme. Getting an instantaneous burst down onto Yuma, forcing the buyback, killing off Gunner while he had AoE Doom up as well. Just not able to cut off the initiation of Xtreme Gaming at this point. And with all of these items up on Xtreme, they've got a lot more play. Sight of Vice being up in XM allows that, again, additional control that has felt a little bit lacking. Refresh for XXS, double usage of BKB, double Epicenters, a reuse of Sandstorm to fight kind of breaks away from your area of control. And things start to get a little bit more complicated here for the side of Nouns. Again, it doesn't feel like they can rely on counter initiation fully. They might need to apply some pressure. Gunner has to find these good angles in. Even a Sight of Vice up now for Fly to help get some control down. But one of those sights or one of these tools has to be used to maybe pop a Lincolns to get further control. And again, it can be a tough prospect. But again, net worth advantage evens out. We have a pretty even game in terms of net worth difference here. Win probability right now for Xtreme at 56%. Definitely still in the game now that we are at that point. 45 minutes in. We were talking about this 20 minutes earlier. How does the game go when it scales up? It doesn't get any easier for either side. It does feel like it's gotten slightly harder for Nouns, to be fair. And Xtreme finally equalizing a net worth. And you are seeing just how much a free storm can do. We talked about this in the draft. Like, outside of Doom, there's not much for XM to worry about, and you are seeing that in play at this point.
You sure are. Xtreme Gaming now grouping up once again. Nouns will do the exact same thing, taking the outpost in the dire triangle. It certainly feels like Xtreme are the stronger team now, especially with Arme just hitting like an absolute truck on this Luna. Now I'm just going to sit back on that high ground and just wait for Xtreme to perhaps come to them, but Xtreme are not really shifting their own attitude either. They're just going to sit back and relax as well. They'll go ahead and just address the top lane while they do have a chance. The lines are being drawn out by Nouns. I mean, they know exactly where, well, not exactly, but they know that where Xtreme are currently kind of hanging out. They have kind of moved as well. On the high ground perhaps is where they'll go. Nouns, they are still playing with an Aegis up on Yuma.
Tower is under attack.
They are going to give this bottom racks a crack. Tier 3 tower, of course, is still standing, so they'll have to go through that. Hex is out from XM, making life very hard for Yuma. But he will get back to work.
I have no way of hitting this banner safely. At least you don't want to present XM. You can't show up Ame as well. You'll get the illusions that clear out. Back
He's gonna
line.
jump in with the epicenter. The Gunner's got the Doom off in time, but they've got the Aegis already on Yuma. Copy. He's gonna jump right in, trying to force them away. As Gunner now gonna jump in with a secondary Doom out, this time catching the Sand King, and they just blow up XXS. But that is pretty much all the fuel committed.
Oh.
Here comes XM once again onto Yuma, but he does retreat. He's just abusing the Fountain region, just trying to chip away at Yuma's HP pool.
Right.
And with that, I think Nouns, they might actually have to retreat.
No, they don't have double Doom. Shard was expended there from Gunner. It feels like Gunner dooming himself is not the way to play here. Like, he ends up dooming XXS to get that kill in the Sand King, but again, that's after he pops Epicenter, after he jumps in with a Sandstorm and kind of helps to blow up the first life of Yuma. You still, it feels like the ideal is still dooming XM himself. It feels like it's got to be XM or it's got to be XXS before he uses Epicenter, Burrow Strike, Sandstorm. It needs to be Nouns getting the jump in. And this time again, Xtreme were the ones to get the jump onto Nouns. They get that forward movement out with XXS. Sure, they sacrifice the Sand King's life, but without the Aegis, it feels very unsafe for Nouns to try to cross this position into the high ground once more. They've not been able to develop on the side of Nouns, and for Xtreme, I mean, it's starting to simplify just a little bit, right? Like, down the line, you've got this consideration for an Ags build up in XM. AoE Vortex suddenly really makes this game hellish for Nouns. You've got the eventual build up for PYW into, after this defensive Aeon Disc, into potentially an Ags. Maybe you could hope for that on Roshan as well. If you manage to line things up, wait it out until, a nighttime Roshan up top. You could try to kind of gun for that. Get yourself a free Ags Blessing to pass onto your Tusk or Storm. Whereas for Nouns, it feels like we're reaching kind of the end game of itemization, right? Like, Copy's got Ags, Octarine, maybe you toss out the Maelstrom, is lining up for a Wind Waker for something defensive here on your Ember. Your Morphling is pretty much slotted up, going for a Linken's to cover the last item slot, maybe covering up Power Treads. Ags doesn't feel like it has too much utility here either for the Morphling, so not the biggest deal. You've got a refresh for Fly. Phoenix Ags could have some utility. It hasn't felt like the biggest factor. Like, as this game starts to reach an ultra late game scenario, an end game scenario, it does feel like it might actually be easier for Xtreme. Even at a very even net worth, it doesn't feel like it matters anymore. Like, now, again, at most in this game, they had a 10k lead at most. They maintained that for a period of about 10 minutes. They're just not able to really capitalize fully. Xtreme just found some holes, and well, they're one full racks up on mid. They've got an access point down bot. They've got a tier 2 to clear up top. They've ridden through one Aegis usage. They've forced out a refresh usage already and another banner. They just kind of need to wait for next Roshan and make sure they get it this time around, and that could be game over for Nouns if it goes away.
It does feel that way. Top lane,
Oh,
Copy.
Copy?
That's a big target. Copy's gone. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there, but maybe just trying to creep skip and apply more pressure up that top lane, but he's a big boy. Gets taken out here by Xtreme Gaming. We'll see if Xtreme can try to really capitalize off this death of the Ember. Thing is, he does have buyback, of course, so you've got that going for you, but Xtreme, they should at least be able to try and force the buyback.
It's pretty nasty. Yeah, you get the mini stun from the Lucent Beam, of course, but it was the Mindbreaker silence that allows that jump in, right? Like, yeah, you get the glaives bouncing out with your talents, you get the Mindbreaker applied from a casual right click from Ame,
Radiant's top tower.
and it's just enough time for everyone else to commit a nice big kill. Forcing buyback at this point doesn't feel great for Nouns. You've got the 2k lead on Xtreme. They could just look to shove in all the lanes now and just help secure their own Roshan, which will be a daytime spawn down south. And this time again, Roche control for the side of Xtreme should lead us to an endgame scenario onto the high ground for the side of Xtreme Gaming. We'll see if Nouns can find a way out. Still waiting for the refresh and buyback gold on Gunner. He bought out the refresh. It's an all-in commitment, and that could put them at risk, especially if he's not able to get a Doom off anyhow. Again, only a few more seconds until we see that Roche respawn timer. And I've got to say, Mike, this was on my mind for at least 20 minutes now.
Yeah.
Isn't it just our luck to get the opening game?
Yes, it is.
at this R into an opening match
Yeah.
that's approaching 60 minutes.
Oh, I could have told you this was going to happen, John. I'm not sure why you're acting surprised. I literally could have told you this exact same scenario was going to happen. As is tradition, Jonathan.
Gotta love it.
I don't know why you're
Roshan as well.
complaining. Was it like
I'm not
1 a.m.?
complaining. I was just like,
Radiant's
oh, look at
bottom
this.
tower
This is
is under
just
attack.
like Michael Phoenix's luck. God
Yep.
bless. Good luck for Xtreme though. Very fast Roche respawn. Again,
Radiant are scanning.
daytime spawns, no free ags, but they will have a refresh on hand. Quick smoke out from Nouns might be able to find this angle into Roche to get the scan as well, but Roche does not take long to fall. They've got the
they're
damage
doing
here in
very
Xtreme, so we'll see if they can take the follow-up fight.
They're going to try. It seems like Nouns are thinking about it. Xtreme, just looking for a way out. They're going to see the mantra illusions of the Morphlings, so they are very well aware that the Nouns are around here somewhere. Still very patiently waiting. XXS does just deal with the creep wave and reveal his position, but Nouns have decided that they do not want to try and force the fight any longer. At least not in that position. They've moved further towards the left. Meanwhile, Xtreme still hanging about as 5, but they've got no smokes of their own, so it seems like they're just all going to go through the twin gates at once. Perhaps looking to try and maybe set up for that top racks. Yeah, you've pretty much got everything you could ask for here. I mean, everyone's basically 6-quartered apart from the supports now. Aegis up, Roshan banner up, everything's up. Time to go.
Yeah, but again, this is... It feels like this is the endgame scenario now for Nouns to have to face up into. They've got buybacks at the very least. So again, one wipe is not going to be the ending of the game, but I'm not sure if the follow-up fight's going to be too smooth for Nouns, especially if they've already blown pretty much Doom's the big one. If Doom is expended and you don't win that fight and you're forced to buy back without the Doom, I don't think that fight is any easier for you on Nouns, even with a refresh.
Bottom barracks.
You do buy out the refresh on Gunner, so again, no buyback gold for our Doom. 2.7k away. At least they have shoved out
Radiant's top
Bot,
tower
allowing
is
a little
under
bit of a
attack.
response out from Xtreme, so they're forced to stall out this aggression onto top. But again, happy days so far for Xtreme. Nouns aren't able to really catch any stragglers. They're forced to back off. They have this forward vision set up for themselves, which can be useful if they manage to keep this pressure on the bot lane. But the opportunities don't really present themselves too much. So I think if you're Xtreme now, again, if you've already got the free Ag's Blessing up on Ame, so he can't just try to burst someone a million miles away with Eclipse. They do manage to catch him out for a moment. Not really there with a follow through control though, to try to burst down this Luna, slightly isolated from the rest of his team. Now this is the kind of do or die. Now it's have to find a way to actually initiate on their own terms this time and try to make this fight work for themselves.
Nouns are the ones looking like they're on the back foot here, John. They'll just sit back and wait for Xtreme to make a mistake if they do. Xtreme still huddled up as 5. Looking to go through the bottom lane. If you can find a way to burst down this Luna, it could be easy pickings for the rest of the crew, but like Xtreme makes it very hard at this stage because you can't just... It's very hard to catch him. And on top of that, he's got this light device that he can just set up with. In fact, he does right now, and Gunner's gone. Gunner is deleted. And he bought out
There's
a
no
refresher
buyback.
orb. He's got no buyback. Oh boy. That's a big shame. I mean, perhaps he saw it as the win condition for his side, but it's cost him quite a bit here as he has no buyback available. XXS will jump in. They found Fly to boot. Fly getting hexed up by XM. Will go down. Xtreme looking like they might have just secured game 1.
Radiant's bottom
1 racks for the Megas, and without buyback on your Doom, you've basically got no chance of winning this team fight. Like, how do you win if you can't silence people with that Doom? It's gonna be tough.
You just can't. And it's all in on Gunner. Maybe a rear flank somehow?
I mean, BKB is forced out from Arme. Problem is, Lelis is just going to get deleted by the Eclipse of Arme. Yuma trying to fight. Lelis will buy back. Xtreme trying to retreat just a little bit, but Arme now killing off Copy. More buyback buybacks incoming, and Xtreme, they are still playing it very, very safely, just trying to retreat. As Nouns, I suppose, have successfully defended so far. They will even find PYW here in the task, and PYW will also be dropping. So a double kill for Yuma. It does basically cost you all the buybacks you had. But you do hold on to that last lane of barracks.
That you do. They did manage to clear out top as well, with creep wave naturally shoving in from the side of Nouns. That leads to a little bit of hesitation. It did feel like maybe Xtreme weren't entirely sure if Gunnar didn't have buyback, because they saw the slow trickle of buybacks, and maybe they figured, right, this Doom is just trying to hold out. So they play it ultra safe. They show a lot of respect there. And I don't think they are in a rush. Again, you've got this Ags now for XM coming out, full Ags blessing, plus travels. The timing for the BKB fading is there as well, so it's 2 minutes until next Roche. You've got 2 minutes until, I can't believe it's our first game, and it's a new EPT tour, our first game, and we might actually hit tier 5 items already, but you know, it's you and I, Mikey. You know what's happened to us in these qualifiers, man. We're gonna break our own record by, I don't know, ESL 1 Europe next year. I'm sure we'll get a Azure game that will go 6 Rs in a series. That would be an excellent
We can only hope.
Who knows?
I would only hope, John.
At this R.
Yeah.
So I can hear you suffer live.
4 a.m. in the morning, John. XM? It's kind of the thing against the Storm, right? Like, you get to this stage of the game where you just can't deal with the Storm just split pushing over and over again anymore. Like, you can't get high ground with your creeps anymore. Like, the Storm's just never going to allow it.
Forget everything that we were talking about here, Mike. We've got the CM Ags. This is it. Chan Ming is ready to let it go. What do you mean? What do you mean he's going to let it go, Michael Phoenix? Have you no emotion? Have you no love for the art of the game?
I haven't watched Pros. I haven't watched.
Oh, you're gonna watch a lot of it once your little young one is old enough. If you don't watch it, she'll ask, Dad, why haven't I watched this movie? All my friends talk about it. Why can't I watch it? And you will be stuck there gauging, should I let her watch the show? And you are too sweet, Michael Phoenix. You will let her watch.
Radiant
God willing, you will let her watch that movie.
She's not going to have friends, John. We'll just homeschool her.
Uncle John will tell her about a little movie called Frozen. Oh, you made a mistake. Oh, it was all a mistake. All these 8 years, Mike, leading into this point. You've got to watch Frozen at some point. It's gonna happen.
I saw the song, John. You know, I've listened to the song.
You saw the song, and you listened to the video. I'm guessing.
It's 4 a.m. John, give me a break. Tier 5 items are up. What do we got? What's gonna picking up?
What is this? Nothing. Epicenter and Eclipse down.
What?
Yeah, they popped it for literally no one right there. They tried to preempt.
That's okay.
Lose a tier 3.
Ame's got a Divine Rapier, by the way.
He's done with his game, I'm pretty sure. Which makes sense. I mean, Ame can still die, let's be fair. He doesn't have any source of lifesteal. He is very much playing positional, threatening with the Eclipse, and using his other heroes up front. He does have Stygian to end the game, so I like this from Ame. Gets lucky with a Stygian, can opt to end the game if he so wishes. And that is what I'm pretty sure he is hoping for now, to end the suffering. Although I'm pretty sure if anyone's having fun here, it's probably XM after an atrocious start, having the Ags in his backpack just waiting for the blessing. And this man has been popping off on the storm after dying 7 times in the first, what was it, first 20-25 minutes of the game. So, great recovery out.
I kind of wonder how Nouns feel about this game, right? Because like that first 30 minutes was just so dominant, and then it just falls flat after a couple of missed opportunities, and it's just you gotta feel a little bit upset about that, I'm sure, if you're Nouns, because it was a very dominant, clean start. Xtreme now maybe showing their experience here with their own squad, going into this 62-minute mark just about.
I think a couple of things for Nouns, because in that entire early game from Nouns, there was just no play from Xtreme. They were not ready to fight. XXS was farming up, not even joining his team, not connecting. So they're basically playing 4v5 on Nouns with all of these cores that have no items, where it's much easier for Nouns to just jump in. Heck, even Gunnar was joining in with what, drums up? That was just enough. And once you reach the point where, again, farm parity is achieved, it's just a lot harder to actually open these fights. The smoke and smoke, though, if you win out here on Nouns, you could also look for the end game, stealing away that rapier here.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I feel like everyone could just afford a rapier if they wanted it at this point. You know, this is... Zip in, XM, who's he got? Oh, he found Gunnar. He has found Gunnar again. Aeon Disc will be procced here for Gunnar. And I appreciate the item build up as well, like just going for the Aeon Disc to ensure he can't get completely blown up every single time by XM. But that's going to be on cooldown for another 90 seconds, so you do have another opening for Xtreme if you so wish. But of course, they are probably just going to wait for the Roshan. It's only about 20 seconds away, so not too big of a deal. Meanwhile, Yuma's split pushing the mid lane with his Mantra Illusion. Let's find a tier 3 tower for himself, so there is a bit of rat play going on here from Nouns, as there is going to be now a smoke on smoke for this next Roshan attempt. Nouns wrapping around through the north. Looks like Xtreme, they're going to go west through the bottom lane and see if they can get the kind of the opening to this fight that they're looking for. Scan is out right by the Roshan pit, so Nouns have been somewhat spotted. Now, Xtreme still very patiently waiting as Yuma is going to go out on his own for a bit of a scouting mission, it seems, but does decide better of it and backs off towards the Roshan pit once again. The Roshan's decided to run outside of the pit for whatever reason. XM going to jump in. Is he going to be able to find himself a target? Not quite yet, but they do jump in onto the backside, finding it looks like the Phoenix, but no, the egg does come off in time. And now Nouns, they're going to rush for the Sand King. XXS is gone. That is one down already, but they've lost Gunnar. They've lost the Doom again. Gunnar, though, this time around going to have the buyback available to commit. XM still manning up against Yuma. Meanwhile, Yuma gets the hell out of there instead, moving on to PYW, who snowballs up and tries to buy himself a bit of time. Back towards Copy. Copy is down. XM will pick him off, but now XM's completely out of mana. Can they take him down? It seems like they will eventually, surely. And they've got him. 4 down for the side of Xtreme now. What is happening?
And that was probably the ideal there for Gunnar. A very choked out area. He manages to get the double dooms off and just entrap them in a very nasty killing field set up there for Nouns. A very awkward angle to take that fight as well. Right behind a Roche pit. Managed to stall it out, but Roche will eventually go the way of Nouns. You have buybacks on the side of Xtreme. And this is where things get really interesting. Right, Gunnar was forced to buy back. Roshan now working his way up top. They're trying to damage it with salts, and they don't have enough DPS output from that to try to kill off Roche. So it is going to be a top Roche, and the inventory change is going to be rather interesting as he heads into that pit. So they will have, again, the secondary lives to cover here on Nouns. Xtreme, they're going to be able to respawn no problem. So they're still going to be able to defend their 2 sets of Raxus. It's still maybe actually a tougher position for Nouns because you're not going to give Aegis over to Gunnar. So if you pick off this Doom, no buyback, no double Doom to worry about, you are in a pretty strong position for Xtreme if you can isolate Gunnar out. Nouns have to be very smart with a subjective win. And they've found a free tier 3 that wasn't even off of the Manta. That was when they kind of both wasted Eclipse and Epicenter on that defense from Xtreme, just trying to jump someone as they were committing the real Morphling from Yuma. But they also, again, they have to show some respect for the area control Gunnar does provide. Like, it's one thing to have both XXS and XM Cotton Doom. If Ame is in there as well, it gets pretty scary that your Luna stuck in the middle of the AoE Doom as well. Just not the ideal positions to be in here for the side of Xtreme. And now they stay alive in this game somehow.
Oh, Yuma, he's going right in. PYW. He's alright. Doom committed as well from Gunnar, but it's a bit early. They don't see the other players, so everyone from Xtreme just able to avoid the Doom completely of Gunnar. And well, now they'll know it's down. Mind you, he does have a refresher orb up in 8 seconds, so he will have a secondary one very, very soon. Zip in, XM, he's going to find Lilith. A nice easy pick off here for XM. As they'll throw the Eclipse in here from Arme. But do you want to try for high ground? Like, you've got no buyback available on Lilith. The thing is, though, Arme does have to go back and address the creep wave on his tier 4 towers.
Yeah, it's tough for you to commit an Xtreme. Like, this pickoff is nice. Ideally, again, your ideal target's just Gunner. Kill off this Doom. No buyback for quite some time. And that's your opening, but it's not like Gunner will present himself just like that. 13k lead coming out from Xtreme Gaming.
This'll come in handy.
Are we getting anything else silly coming out here? I forgot to mention Chan Ming does have the 225 attack speed talent as well. Crystal Maiden, he's going for a nullifier, so there is going to be some damage there eventually. I would have actually liked if Chan Ming just went for a Desolator. I feel like that's something we'd see from Ponlo. That's a very Ponlo play. He'd go for the Stygian himself and the Desolator as well. Like the tier 5 plus the actual item, and he would just bum rush the tier 4s and end the game. But it's not the game we've got here. Again, Ami could still theoretically just straight up end the game if they could just get onto the high ground, but they can't. Now it's just forcing them back.
Oh, a bit of a stalemate situation. XM on Yuma, just zipping around like a wild man, trying to find anything he can. Does waste a lot of his mana, but that's fine because he's got a regen rune going. No problems here for XM. Very, very awkward for Nouns, of course, because it's very hard to just hide from this storm at the moment, as now Yuma has a full Divine Rapier up on the Morphling. So Divine versus Divine between these position ones. They want that tier 3 top tower. XXS is going to pop the epicenter and move in onto Gunner, though. Gunner's got the BKB up and he gets the Doom off in time. XXS, though, getting forced away is going to be fine for now, as the Doom does not really amount to anything for now. Of course, Xtreme, they can just casually wait for the Doom to wear off, and well, he does again have a secondary one, so he does just refresh immediately.
Radiant are scanning.
They still have to worry about that, but at least it's not two of them.
Yeah. Not a back-to-back.
Don't yawn on the cast, John. Jesus Christ. My goodness. Yeah, we can hear that, Jonathan.
It was just bad timing of the inhalation. You know, it happens. It's, You've got Yuma going for the axe. I don't know if, again, I just don't know if this is going to make too much of a difference with the alt cast and the morph. Would lead to some interesting scenarios on the first reveal, I suppose. But I don't know beyond that. Xtreme Gaming set to knock on the doors. Only one Doom usage. And again, if Gunner dies, no buyback. Still 2 minutes left in that cooldown. Everyone else is ready outside of Lelis without the gold. So you've got some opportunities. And just slowly poking on Tormentor with an illusion, just for funsies. 18k lead for Xtreme. I will say one thing. I think with the Divine pickup on Yuma, I am excited by the possibility of Yuma somehow handing this Divine Rapier to Chan Ming. Again, call me silly, but the 225 attack speed and most of your pubs, Michael Phoenix, you'd see that CM rushing the Divine. I would like to see Chan Ming bring the pub strats into the pro scene.
I've never seen that, John.
You're a very sad man. You should try
Radiant's
if my CM ever,
it is fun.
If my CM ever did that, I would open mic so fast. XM jumping in again. Eclipse popped. Nothing coming of this though, but they do have time for the racks, and that's what's important for Arme. Let me just hit these damn buildings, please. BKB's popped, they'll immediately retreat. That's all they wanted. They just wanted some space to hit the damn racks. Arme's gonna refresh his BKB and they're gonna go again, I think.
That's the play. Ame's the player. He knows what needs to be done. He knows this can't go on forever. The smoke out though now, and might find an angle.
They're gonna try. Doom is committed again, but they're not near anybody. They'll find Tianming on the CM. Tianming, of course, is gonna get deleted here by Yuma. PYW also in a bit of danger as they're gonna find a bigger target in XXS now. Copy with the Yules out, but the problem is the Megas are online. XM, he just rats the racks. XXS still alive, in fact, still fighting with the Bloodstone regen. Here comes XM again. Buybacks incoming. They want to try and take this fight. The XM taking a fair bit of damage, but Copy's the one who needs to back off because Arme's rejoined. So Megas are up. XG have managed to find Mega Creep.
Stupendous.
Does it matter? I don't know, John. I really just don't. It's one of those games.
It does somewhat matter, right? You're gonna have a harder time trying to correct your lanes. It's gonna be easier to access the next two Roshans for Xtreme Gaming if this keeps going. I'm just assuming at this point it could go into two more Roshes. It does make it a lot easier for Xtreme. You do have wave clear somewhat on side of Nouns, like Yuma can kind of handle this. He also has Travels 2 up. You've got Travels 2 up and Copy. He can also clear them out, although slightly slower, considering. Still stuck at the Maelstrom, going for the plate near next. See how quick this next Rosh is. But again, happy days so far for the side of Xtreme, despite buying back on two of their supports. It's inconsequential. This really does not matter as much considering all of that space they gained. A very worthwhile sacrifice to make. And for now, they can't afford to give Rosh. Let's see if this timer is any longer. We've seen I think our longest timer in this game was around 2 minutes 30. Our shortest was like 5 seconds or something like that. See if we get an average timer here. Would be to the benefit of Nouns to allow some space to fix their lanes somewhat. It is not a long timer whatsoever.
UIW now being chased by Copy. XM is around looking for a Hex to tank. Copy now trying to get away, but the Yules, in fact, Wind Waker was his own. Copy forced the BKB up. Here comes the Cavalry Gunner. He's going to TP in with the Doom out. Eclipse has been popped, but Gunner will just tank through it, trying to at least take PYW's life. He does get it. It's just a support Tusk, but that is a Tusk without buyback. Mind you, those Mega Creeps we talked about, John, they're in the base right now. Copy's going to address them.
That's the one thing that'll always hold back Nouns at this point. Even after a nice dieback kill like that, can't really capitalize, can't commit onto the high ground, can't try to secure Rosh. Always one forced back to repair, but at least, again, you've got the mobility here on the Ember to just rejoin your team nice and easy. You have the Seer Stone to check for Roshan, and I do believe that is on Nouns' end, so they will have a little bit of a nice peek into the pit, and they will actually get started on it themselves once again here with Yuma. Be able to, again, secure this objective, get the secondary life out. I was kidding a while ago when I said two Roshans. I can see it happening, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong. The scary part for me, John, is by the time we finish this series, the chances are the baby's gonna wake up on me. You know, I'm probably not even gonna get to bed, I'll be honest. Top late. Oh. Clutches life, Jonathan Lellis, he's chasing that XM. XM's alright. I mean, at least we got a great game to start off DreamLeague Season 24, John. That's the way I'm trying to look at it. It's a great game.
Yeah, that it is. You look at this graph, you're wondering what the hell happened at 42 minutes, roundabout, complete mess. I'll be frank with you as well, Mike. I've watched way too many chess videos. I feel like I've been casting like it's a chess game. They don't manage to pin down Copy at the very least. But if you notice, I'm using a lot of like chess games. I just realized I've watched too much chess the past few days. It's leaking. I'm leaking chess.
Since you're being honest, Jonathan, I'll be honest with you. I don't listen to a word you say, John. I didn't notice any of the references. I'll be frank with you.
Yeah, frankly, I'm surprised we can maintain a conversation, Mike. It's almost like you are listening, but I know for a fact you are not.
Bottom lane.
It's magical.
You say something, John? Yuma? You're gonna farm a creep wave.
We've got the Sand King Ags up, Mike. This changed, so you get stingers off your epicenter. For whatever reason that is lore-wise possible, your stinger's popping around very far away from where your stinger's at. But that is what happens. So a little bit more damage to play with here. Normally, and this is not even a joke, when you do go for Sand King Ags, you actually want the Daedalus. But we're likely not to get that from XXS, of course. Just a little bit of bonus physical. I mean, he has nothing to rip. I guess there's an argument to throw out the Bloodstone, but he's been sustaining nicely off of that. Maybe you grab Daedalus when you're not using Boots of Travel, swap in Ame.
Hold on a minute. Gets a BKB off. Yuma does force Boots his way there, but it won't matter. Ame still gets a TP away. They're trying to find any kind of straggler here. They're trying to find an opening to get onto this high ground and maybe get Megas themselves. And the thing is, every time you miss out as Nouns, you've got to go back and just defend your base. Because XM's being an absolute nuisance, pushing in all the waves. And so it's always costly missing out on any kind of kill here against Xtreme Gaming. And speaking of the Devil's Xtreme, they are going to group up as 5. XM going to zip forward, finding a Hex right onto Fly, but Aeonius does proc, and now XM. Oh boy, XM is down, but he does have buyback. But is this the opening? It may just be.
I mean, it should be. You've got 2 minutes on Aegis, 80-second respawn, buyback's very costly. For XM, will only leave him with, what, 2.6k gold to spare. If he had anything he'd want to buy, maybe a moon shard at this point, really. Nothing else to kind of fit in here. They've got room to correct. You don't have to worry about the split push coming out. I feel like the ideal now for the side of Xtreme is to actually try to draw attention away, have one lane that can still shove in, and just BOTs in for Ame and just end the game. That's
here we go. They have found themselves Tianming. Tianming is down. No buyback available, Jonathan. Not for another minute and a half. So again, a nice opening here for Nouns. They'll take the mid-range racks, though Yuma is getting jumped as we speak, but Gunner's going to jump in, still not popping the Doom quite yet, but Yuma does look to retreat. They've got to get through 2 racks to at least get their Omegas up and even out the game. Exodus is making life very challenging as they're trying to buy as much time as possible for XM to respawn naturally. Epicenter now popped as well by our Sand King. It's just still not doing enough against Yuma, who has the Aegis still up. Though he might have to lose it here, but no, he will not. Juggling some items, drops the BKB casually, eats the cheese, up to the high ground once again. Here we go. We'll see if Yuma can get it done, but XM has respawned now. They've got the Storm Spirit back up. Yuma's trying for the racks, but it's just such a slow process. Even with the Divine Rapier, it's just so slow as they get the Hex off. Yuma, he'll lose the Aegis. That's the first life, but a lot of BKBs were popped. There's now Gunner. He'll drop XXS. They've got the Sand King locked down with the Doom. XXS is down. He's got buyback available. Xtreme Gaming, can they hold out? It seems like the answer is no. They will get Megan. Buybacks are there. XXS, he'll rejoin the team fight as Fly is down. He's got buyback. Lewis will go down. He has got buyback to boot. Yuma, he has forced the man up here on the Morphling, but he's got a Divine Rapier. He does not want to drop here as they are onto the Tusk now. And I say he doesn't want to drop it, John. He's got 13k gold. He can afford to drop the Temp Divine. There goes PYW. Buybacks are available. Megas against Megas, 80 minutes in for this game 1
oh my
of a
God.
DreamLeague Season 24.
How did we get here? Divine up for Toppy. One little slip up for Xtreme. As constant, they at least get the die back and Fly. A nice pickup for XM. They need to find a way to translate this. Maybe they'll find us on Lilith as well. All right.
That's
2
huge.
diebacks. And you're up against a Luna. Even with Megas on Megas, this is a Luna. With a Divine Rapier, it could rip through your tier 4s. You have no Egg to threaten. You have no Terrorize, no Bedlam, no Maze. It's gonna hold them back. The heck is this? This is dangerous. This is risky territory.
It's so ridiculous seeing how much gold everyone's holding. Ame's got 22k gold. He buys another Divine. There you go. He's got 17k now. Bless him. Yeah. You know, it's just... At what point do they just let the supports take the farm, John? You know?
Never. Never. That's the sad reality. Yuma. Yuma? Just out.
But do you not just want to push? Like, you've got 2 supports down with that buyback.
You would want to. They gave up on that mid or bot shove. I think they got a little bit overexcited trying to pin down a Morphling. And now respawns are down to around a minute. Oh. Poking.
They jumped in for a second. Lincoln is broken. Yuma is going to get jumped now by XM. Frostbite does land, and the Hex does as well, but the Wind Waker will save him. They've still got about 45 seconds without Lelos, and about 30 seconds without Fly. Arme's coming in to rejoin his team. 15k advantage their way, not that it really matters. Yuma's going to jump. Oh, Yuma's jumped in again. But they've got him this time around, or do they? The Force Splits will save his life as PYW is still trying to chase him down. Meanwhile, Gunner, he's got the Doom off. He's onto PYW. He's onto XXS. He's trying to find himself a target. He's even found Arme, but Arme will just retreat as they found Yuma. Yuma's going to buy back immediately. There goes Gunner to boot, but he'll buy back to boot.
Is under attack.
Okay. They're out of there, Jonathan. Xtreme. I mean, they're just committing everything to try and retreat here without giving anything away to Nouns. Nouns desperately trying to chase them down. At least finding Tianming, hopefully. Tianming trying to force boots his way up to the high ground, almost getting away, but surely does drop. He's got to keep up in one, but it won't matter. He's got. There is buyback though, just in case you were wondering.
This is not how I expected game one to go. It looked like, you know, the first 25 minutes, it looked like Nouns had a cakewalk, slip up a little bit, that refresher buyout from Gunner without popping refresh the first time, leading into the openings for Xtreme. Kind of caught them off guard as well, and now we're in an even game state. 37k gold lead really doesn't matter. Maybe a gold differential between the supports would count for a little bit more. But even that's not really coming out. Like, the supports are really starved in this kind of game, right? Like, PYW doesn't even have Ags. Opts for Wind Waker, Nullifier, try to pull these heroes down.
Like, you're telling me you couldn't use some kickback plays with PYW? Like, we can't give that guy a palm?
No, apparently not. Good scan for a moment, but this is a weird position for Xtreme to try to break it.
Oh. Lila's gonna have his smoke broken. XXS immediately jumps in, but the Shadow Realm was there. Yuma in the middle of all this. Egg will be popped by Fly. Gunner meanwhile popping the Doom on himself, trying to find himself a target. The Doom does eventually find XXS. Meanwhile, Arme, where is Arme? He's trying to fight here thanks to the back of XM, killing off Copy and Yuma. Copy will buy back, but Yuma cannot. Fly is also down. They will continue the fight, but they've got to get out of there. Gunner, he's also caught trying to kill off Arme, but the Lincoln's not going to make it too easy as Arme will survive just barely on 98 HP. And with that, I mean, there's 3 down with that buyback. The game's got to be over. It's got to be over.
I feel like if they truly wanted it over, you give Tianming the Divine, but, you know, PYW does the needful. Think about it. Look at this attack speed, 0.41 second attack, Crystal Maiden with Divine Rapier. The game's over. It's still over with a Tusk Divine, you know, with this game state, of course, but it would be over maybe a few seconds faster. At the least, we'll see if some magical thing can happen here from Copy as he drops his Divine.
Every time I cast with you, you start saying the most ridiculous crap, John. Here we go. There's Tianming hitting the towers. Could use a Divine, doesn't have one. Arme will take care of it. GG's. They've had it. Okay. Xtreme Gaming take game one after 85 minutes for the way, so we can switch over to that, but speaking of Beastmaster, I mean, did you see on Reddit, Jonathan, people were asking if Necrobook should be back?
No.
Did you see that, John?
No, don't.
There was a post about it.
Do you not know what you asked for? You fools! You charlatans!
I uploaded.
Do not ask for Necrobook back. No.
They wanted it,
do not want that.
Reddit wants it.
No. Reddit doesn't know what they want. Reddit doesn't know what they want. They never do. They ask for something and they get it, and then they'll cry about it in 3 months. No, do not do it. Never do it. What does it matter? You know, we're not getting updates anytime soon. It's not coming back, Mike.
Oh.
Maybe in a year.
It's a bit passive aggressive, isn't it, Jonathan? Yuma? Wait, it'll be alright? Doesn't Necrobooks upset you that much, John? You're gonna start taking shots at Valve, do you?
Yes. Do not do it. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, as they say in Monopoly. Don't do it. Just don't. Don't even think about it. Don't even consider it.
The battle begins.
Besides, what will that do for Underlord and the Abyssal Horde? If Necrobook's there, what's the use of him? Think about Underlord, guys. Have some mercy. Please.
But think about it. He could buy a Necrobook on top, John. How great's that? Then you'd have like infinite Necro units. Could you imagine?
No. If you have Necrobook on Underlord, it should upgrade his Abyssal Horde to be actual full power Necrobook units. All right, that's the one case.
I agree.
I will say. You know what? Yes, let's. Okay, that's the one scenario I will argue for Necrobook to be back, but no. The sacrifice is too great. What? Don't tell me, Mikey. You want to see Necrobook dazzle again, even though it doesn't affect item cooldowns. It's gonna come back. You want to see Tinker support with Necrobooks? Oh, that's gonna be a treat. You're gonna love that. You're not gonna complain about that whatsoever when that comes back around. 60% cooldown reduction at max int. Ooh. Oh, I'm already getting excited. You know what? Bring it back. Bring it back right now so Mike can see that support Tinker come back over that item. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Right now. Put it back in. Right now.
If Act 4 and Bird Samurai is not ready yet, John, all I'm saying is if they wanted to quickly release a sub patch, just a real quick one, just an item drop, I wouldn't be against it. That's all I'm saying.
I just realized, you know what? What if Necrobook came back as a facet? Wait for it, on Warlock. He already has a grimoire.
I love it.
He has a grimoire.
I actually like it. I like it.
That's a terrible idea.
I'd turn into a Warlock main immediately, John. You have no idea.
You're a sicko. No, it will change his instance to Necronomicon. Oh god, that sounds hellish. Level 1 upheaval would be even more legit than it ever was. Yeah. And that would be, oh god, no, don't do that. But do it just for the chaos, actually. Yes, I like that. We've got to go ahead. Everyone's tired of listening to us ramble on about an item that has not existed in this game for a while outside of Book of Dead. And we will get into the game, like, somewhat.
Yeah, shout out to admin Wishy as well, John. I didn't realize Wishy was here. You know how I feel about Wishy. I like the man.
Now you do.
Shout out to Wish.
He gets the calls out, as we like to see. We will also be seeing that mid lane. Again, not the easiest of times for XM, especially as brown boots start to become a reality for Copy. That is the one concern, of course. It's not like Copy got first blood at the very least, so the pacing into brown boots, it's maybe into closer to the level 2 to 3 timing here. Should be a little bit more playable for XM. We'll have phase shift around to try to dodge out. We'll have maybe the value point in Waning Rift as well, depending on how he wants to work this lane. And in an ideal scenario for XM, this lane is dead even. You're not going to lose out in farm. You might get out denied just a bit with how much damage Copy can do, but you shouldn't be completely shoved out here for XM. So you are hoping for one of those standard puck lanes where it goes 50-50 in terms of what you're getting, and you just hold stable until level 6.
You are seeing that top lane as well. Like, Fly actually went for the level 1 battery assault, but now does level up the cogs. Yuma doesn't have level 2 yet on himself, so he doesn't actually have Rocket Barrage available. See how aggressive they do want to get, right? Because you talked about this combo between these two, especially with the afterburner facet for Yuma. For now, of course, they're just going to sit back and relax. Probably the level 3 mark is where you'd want to try, but no, for now, it's just the classic old farm game for Yuma.
Build up. You would want to make a move by perhaps right now or into level 3, while XXS is still relatively weak. Level 2 for Primal Beast having to go uproar. You don't have a kill threat without Onslaught. So it is a pretty big opening for Nouns if they can get level 3 just a little bit faster and look for that rundown potential. We shall see. Of course, the last lane we haven't looked at yet. Bot lane, you've got Ame on SF along with Chunming supporting on that Tusk. Up against Gunner and Lullis, of course, in that lane with Beastmaster and Muerta. This one is looking pretty smooth for Ame. Does have the lasting presence, no Shadowmar, but you can always clear out the boards nice and easy. You've got that kill threat into your own level 2, level 3 spike as well. It's kind of the same story as up top. Like, this Clockwork plus Gyrocopter kind of does the same thing that this SF plus Tusk will want to do. Range melee combo, good burst damage if you can gap close. Although Yuma's getting jumped early on here.
He certainly is, but he gets the Bramble Jukes very, very nicely is Fly now trying to get a cogs off. Does find both of them in these cogs, and Yuma's going to rejoin his teammate to try and see if they can find a pick off. But there was a bit of a creep wave in the cogs, and it does block off quite a bit of the damage here for Yuma. In the end, though, I suppose Xtreme Gaming are forced to back away back towards a tier 1 tower, but overall, everyone just perfectly fine.
Yep. You are getting a little bit more farm out from Yuma. You're maybe slowing down XXS just a tad, but offlane's just having a bit of a rougher time, to be expected with how they drafted their safe lanes here on both sides. The big difference maker is that mid. You can look at Copy 17-8 up against XM's 12-1. Again, the ideal for the puck here was a 50-50 lane. Not getting that. Got the brown boots up, and Copy can always threaten with that buildup of Jingu. Not much a puck can really do to dissuade that, and that's going to be probably the one big issue for Xtreme is XM going off to a slower start in the puck. This Monkey King popping off with Simeon's Stride. He can be everywhere across the map and start making plays once he starts to approach that level 6 mark.
Gonna find both water runes for himself. Meanwhile, top lane though, Fly does go down. XXS able to secure first blood on the Primal Beast, and BYW is gonna get chased here by Yuma, but Yuma can't quite finish the job off. XXS will cut him off, but now XXS is in danger. Does stick charge up, and he is gonna be just fine. Xtreme Gaming really playing on the edge here up that top lane, but again, first blood secured for the Primal Beast. Happy days already here for Xtremist. Bottom lane, Tianming is going to lose his life. Gonna able to secure his own kill now on the Beastmaster.
Find the isolation onto that Tusk. Tianming having a bit of a slower start. We saw this with PYW in the last game on the Tusk. At the very least, he is level 2 at 4 minutes. He's set to get level 3 much earlier than we saw PYW get to level 3 in the last game. So it's not as tough. You aren't seeing the connections you'd want to, though. It is a little bit harder to jump onto Lela's Gunner. Muerta has some good counterplay with the dead shot and the calling, so the full commitment can't really be pulled out. The one big blessing here is that with all of these activity on the side lanes, there's not much time to really consider a rotation mid, right? So water runes are relatively free. XM's been finding them, and that's been allowing him to stay in the lane despite being so far behind in CS. And Copy will hit level 6 much faster regardless, but your puck isn't under any major kill threat without support rotation. So with all, even though your side lanes aren't necessarily feeling too hot, you are allowing your mid some leeway, although it is a very small bit of leeway with Copy really dominating this lane.
That he certainly is. Copy again. He had a fantastic start on his Ember Spirit game 1, but this one looks even better. And we can see how detrimental it can be going up against the Monkey King with Simeon's Stride. If he is off to a fantastic start, as Copy is now. And, well, he won't get lucky with the Power Rune. XM able to find a very nice regen for himself on the puck, so I'm very happy with that. But again, surely understanding how strong Copy is getting with all this CS. And we'll see how they try to deal with him. I mean, this did happen last game, so they might just try to play it slow. It's Gunner. Bottom lane is going to get jumped here by Arme and Tianming with the tag team, and the snowball now being committed. And well, Gunner, he does try to stick charge up, but it will not matter. Tianming able to secure a kill for himself on the Tusk. So they will also try to chase down Lelis. XM, he's got the coil up, but he needs to get within range for it. But the dead shot, it is going to land. And XM, he has wasted quite a bit of time chasing, so he will give up on it. Leave Lelis to run, and we'll come back another day.
All that space out for Copy allows him to sneak in for this Wisdom Rune. Is scanned out, though. Has Fly backing him up here.
XXS going to try and rush forward. Cog's going to make things a little bit challenging here for XXS's Fly. Able to pick up the Wisdom. XXS still trying to fight this one out with the Trample. Fly might drop. Does get into the tree line, and in fact, he's fine. He'll salve up in the tree, and they can't kill him. Copy just forces them back. And that'll be both Wisdom Runes now going the way of Nouns, which is pretty huge for both supports.
Massive. These two supports need a lot of levels to really feel impactful. They've got this movement down onto bot now.
Oh, Arme, that's a big pick off. Arme will go down. Copy able to secure a very important kill now as Tianming going to try to get his way out. A nice chance, but he blocks himself in. That's a little bit unfortunate for Tianming. And he will go down to Yuma, who also shows up on the gyrocopter. That's a massive couple kills once again here for now.
Early game still looking fairly sharp for Nouns, as you'd expect, considering what happened in the last game. I do like this timing from Yuma, and it's like we were talking about from draft, right? Gyrocopter's kind of back because Falcon Blade's kind of back, although XM does manage to bail out in the nick of time. All of that aggression mid-copy with a haste Rune now as well. The rundown, again, for this monkey is insane. But just, you have to appreciate how much Drower gets from Falcon Blade. He can disassemble into power treads quite nicely, reassemble it back, has use for every component. Yuma.
Speaking of that gyrocopter, John Yuma, he's gonna get caught out here.
All right.
Well, he jumps the call down, but it won't matter. Well, why are you gonna talk about Yuma, John? Copy? Mid lane? He's in pretty big trouble here. That'll be a pretty big pickoff if they can get it. Copy, though, making it very hard to actually kill him off. They are still chasing him down, and eventually... Ooh. Oh, no. Copy! Oh, what a boundless. He finds a double before he dies. Beautiful play here from Copy.
Ooh. That's the threat, right? You go onto a Monkey King. Yes, he's got some angles. He's very durable for considering this phase of the game. Just power treads, Wraith Band, and the Oblivion Staff. More than enough to actually sustain true. And it also goes back to just losing both Wisdoms. You're under-leveled on Chanming. You're under-leveled here on PYW. Both of our supports still level 4. Burst damage potential isn't as high. So all of those sequence of events just kind of plays into that awkwardness on mid. At the very least, XM finds the kill solo, which is big for the puck to compensate, gets the levels kind of flowing back in. The solo gold is very important for this timing into the Witchblade, but you have to watch yourself now. Copy's at the point where, again, even without the full Orchid, Simian Stride, check across the map, look into the back, hunt down Ame, make it uncomfy for this SF. Have to be just a little bit cautious. Ame's gotten the memo, already playing very far back in his own jungle, giving that free space up to Gunner. He does hit that early timing of the Dominator, so the push pace is there for our Beastmaster, and again, placed nicely with Wild Hunt facet. And you have to just be a little bit cautious. Once the full Overlord is up, Gunner's creep army can just run you down. Heck, it would make a great connection onto mid right now.
Gone there as we speak. Ame is hanging around the corner with PYW, but I think Ame quite wants to fight with his team yet. Then again, he doesn't really want to lose this mid-tier 1 tower this early either. And this kind of happened last game as well, the mid-tier 1 dropping around the 10-minute mark with the 10-minute siege creep, and Xtreme Gaming, again, it takes a lot to try and catch up after that kind of early map domination from Nouns. Ame going to be around to ensure they can't get this Beastmaster push going, and well, his presence does pay off. It does force Gunner to better think and try to go back down towards the bottom side of the map and see if he can make some plays there. But Nouns unable to really secure the mid-tier 1 tower as of yet.
It kind of goes back to just XM getting that solo kill, right? Like, considering how well Copy's lane was, I almost double the CS of XM early on. Sure, we've seen pucks die in the matchup versus Monkey King. The fact that XM doesn't die is nice, but again, he's very behind in terms of farm and EXP. Getting the solo kill, bounces this puck back in. Level 9, slightly ahead of Copy. Net worth, still lagging a little bit behind, but it's not as far back. This distribution between all the cores, relatively even. Slight net worth lead for Xtreme, not by much. A very close game, very close set of affairs, but it kind of plays into favor of Xtreme, considering that, again, last time around, Nouns were overwhelming in the early game. You still are playing this moderate pace. XXS is still sticking to his top lane, not rotating out, not applying pressure, and not getting pressured either, but he is rushing that BKB at good pace.
Yeah, gonna find himself a nice easy clock. I say easy fly. Very nice hook shot back towards Yuma. I was gonna say he found an easy clockwork kill, but that was definitely not the case. Fly making it as hard as humanly possible. And does manage to get away with his life intact. Very nice from him. Copy. Thinking about popping that Wukong's command, but obviously not really gonna be able to kill off XM just with that alone. Meanwhile, it seems like Nouns are huddling once again around this tier 1 mid tower, but XM's been a real pain. Just pushing out the waves consistently with that orb and not really allowing them to even think about taking the mid tier 1 with the Beastmaster. I mean, Gunner is still farming towards the Helm of the Overlord anyway in the meantime, but it certainly feels like he really wants a tower to go down.
This could be awkward.
The Ame. Gunner just trying to hide and act like he doesn't exist right now, as they are going to jump in eventually with the Wukong's command out, but the roar never comes out. Ame's actually fine to walk out of there so far, as now the leash is out. In comes the onslaught from XXS. Hookshot in from Fly. They'll try to get the primal. In fact, they found Ame. Ame's going to go down. Fly will eventually drop. XXS will finally go down himself as Copy. Just doing so much damage. Finding a triple kill. Tianming might just be the ultra, as he's just stuck between a rock and a hard place with nothing to really use. Ultra kill for Copy. Can we find a rampage? I think we can here, John.
Jeez.
Eventually, and he does. Rampage for Copy.
Radiant's middle tower
You love to
is
see
under
it.
attack.
That looked like it could have gone okay for Xtreme. It's just, excuse me, the position for Ame, not ideal. Walks right into the calling, couldn't really use the Requiem, and all falls flat. They get a good isolation out. The coil, unfortunately, only lands onto one.
Is under attack.
And you're seeing how devastating this tempo can be from Nouns when they find that angle. The full Orchid being up
Radiant's middle tower
on
has
Copy,
fallen.
just complete menace on the Monkey King. You don't have that durability up just yet on XXS. And without the pulverize coming in, your teamfight control is really dependent on the coil landing onto multiple heroes. Not able to find that angle. Big win for Nouns, taking the tier 1 on top of that, leading into the Overlord timing lining up here for Gunner in 180 gold. And they get the slight net worth lead. But this Monkey King is set to pop off. Still half duration on the amp damage. Still on the hunt, 2,000 gold ready to go here. Not going to be looking to hunt just yet. We'll just show himself. I'll see if the side of Xtreme can get something done. Because, again, this is a tempo game. You've got the SF, classic build-up for Ame, Massive Madness up into Dragonlance. Once you have maybe one more intermediary item after Dragonlance up, you have to start winning these engagements. If not, you're going to get run down. Yuma on this Copper is also an issue. Already has the Chrysalis, one part into the Ags, has a lot of room to farm up while still taking part in early activity with Copy backing him up. But this Copper is going to be a massive issue tied in with the Monkey as the game scales on.
Is under attack.
Top lane. A lot of action seemingly coming here. Just so many heroes hanging about this area. Nouns have smoked up as 2. Fly trying to bait somebody in, but nobody takes the bait. Instead, they're just going to jump straight in onto Tianming, but Tianming will be alright to back off as PYW just drops the brambles, and Tianming able to just casually walk out of there, so the smoke rotation from Nouns not really paying off whatsoever. Like mid lane, Yuma's all by himself at the moment. Chart, not going to quite lock him in. Meanwhile, Roshan start. So even though that smoke rotation doesn't really amount to a kill, they are still able to just go right after the Roshan, because you do have a Beastmaster after all. And that'll be a nice, easy and quick Roshan to be taken by Nouns, as mid lane Yuma is kind of being jumped here by Xtreme Gaming, as they are trying for the tier 1 mid tower. XM's gonna find the Gyrocopter eventually, but they're diving tier 2 towers for this. Can they pick him off? Ame, he's gonna find Fly in the meantime. Meanwhile, Yuma, he actually survives. And Ame goes down a Copy.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
A great hook shot out from Fly, isolating while the Rosh is happening. And get the follow-up kill in the big one. Mid movement fails, falls flat from the side of Xtreme. This tempo they were looking for off the back of his SF, I'd say this timing is kind of gone. I think at this point for Xtreme, you start to slow your game down a little bit. You try to get that build-up still on Ame, but you kind of try and hope that you get a little bit more going on XM. But it's kind of down to maybe the puck, maybe some good connections out from XXS as well. But the critical timing for Nouns, it's set to go. 600 gold away from Yuma finding full Ags. You've got the Maelstrom coming out here for Copy into probably the Gleipnir, maybe a BKB right after, and you're kind of set to go on the side of Nouns on that end. You've got the drums coming out for Gunner with that Wild Hunt. It's a lot of attack speed to amp up this Monkey King and Gyrocopter, just completely melting you in these engagements. Love the neutral creep choice as well from Gunner. Thunderhide creep with a Frenzy, with all of this bonus attack speed from all of his summons around. It's pretty devastating to play into this timing of Nouns at this moment. Even just the tower siege, it's just gonna melt in a flash if you don't clear out these creeps.
Uh-oh. Whoopsie daisies. Gunner roars the puck illusion. It happens. XM was very clever, just You know, he was microing the illusion very nicely. It's alright. The thing is though, all these little misplays is buying more and more time for Xtreme. So the more time you have with these towers standing, the higher chance you have of winning this game. Though as I say, that PYW does get taken down by copy very easily. But you get my point, John. With the deficit they currently have on Xtreme Gaming, they need time. And it was a very similar story in Game 1. So they've kind of played this out before. Gunner, Shard's gonna land, but they don't really want to dive in quite yet with that XXS, who does eventually show up. Onslaught will connect, but he doesn't really want to deal with Copy, who does also show on the Monkey King. In fact, he's gonna jump in. XXS will be the target. And slowly but surely they are chipping away at this HP pool of XXS, but they won't quite be able to finish the job off.
No. See the Dream Coil commitment out as well from XM mid, not really catching out and clicking fly. So, not quite connecting in the ways you'd want to here. Although,
Mid lane,
XM
bounces out onto the park. XM trying to back away. They do not land the hook either, so they're going to have to settle to Tian Ming. Tian Ming buying a bit of time for his team to back away, but he of course will go down. At the very least though, you save XM. Though XM also getting caught, almost getting caught by a balance of coffee on his TP out, but not quite. Meanwhile, Radiant Triangle. Arme, XXS and PYW all watching and waiting for a way to enter for another fight, but they decide better of it. It is still very risky against the Aegis on gun.
And I think this adjustment from Nouns is choking out Xtreme a lot better than they were being choked out in the last game. Again, the recovery process for Ami to scale, it's not as straightforward. Like, he's gone for MOM, Hurricane Pike, straight into Daedalus, trying to get some physical burst going, but if the Wukong flies out, you're not going to be able to kill off the monkey. They get the catch again.
That's a big one. That is a big one. Copy. This guy's really playing quite a clean series, isn't he, John? I mean, even if they lose game 1, Copy was playing so damn well.
That he was. And again, in this game, the itemization's just perfection, right? He gets that timing of the brown boots, runs down the lane, gets the Orchid Maelstrom, straight into what seems to be the Mjolnir, but picks up the Ag Shard right after the Maelstrom. So he's got this hyper mobility coming in with the Simian Stride and the position swapping from the Boundless Strike. He's just able to get on top, get that instant control onto the puck. And there's just no counterplay at this point here for XM. Maybe a snowball save, easier said than done without a blink here for Tian Ming. They lose a tier 2 early, and this again, this is very reminiscent of game 1 from the tempo of Nouns. 3k lead, 20 minutes in, 1 tier 2 down. If they clear out another, we're already in a much better pace. The issue last time was they took 1 tier 2, they backed off. This time around, it doesn't look like they're doing that. They understand what went wrong in last game. They'll keep that tempo up.
Oh, XXS. Roar is not up for another 5 seconds here for Gunner. So he's not able to really make the big jump in. In fact, the rest of the cavalry is incoming now. Xtreme trying to pick off this Beastmaster ASAP, but Gunner's going to survive long enough to get the Roar off, and XXS is the one to actually go down. The thing is, every time this Monkey King shows up for a fight, you just can't take it. Like, he's just too far ahead right now to deal with, and it's just proving to be detrimental for Xtreme Gaming to even try, quite frankly. It feels like they're just going to farm across the map.
That they should. I'm a bit surprised that, again, Xtreme are willing to fight in. There is some understanding that your draft has to play a little bit quicker, right? Again, SF scaling is a little bit topsy-turvy. Gyrocopter is very straightforward in scaling in comparison, along with a monkey. This monkey of copy, by the way, full Mjolnir up. Just insanity what's coming out here on our monkey. It's just able to do so much work. The side of Xtreme, I'm trying to think of what item kind of fixes this, or what kind of spike kind of course corrects here. A blink on the puck is nice. Doesn't feel like it fixes enough. The full Daedalus and Ame is also nice, but it also doesn't feel like it fixes enough. It feels like going all in on physical when Wukong's is up is just not an answer. You know, this plus armor for copy is just a little bit too much. You have no way of kicking him out of Wukong's as well, so the Rune is going to be lingering. He has a lot of attack speed as he'll hunt down here.
A nice easy pick off here for Copy. Gunnar will take that one for himself. Well, you just all engines firing at this point, John. There's nothing holding back Nouns. Yeah, the thing is, considering how game 1 ended again, you might be a little bit cautious. But if anything, I think Nouns will probably be more willing to try and finish the game early. Because perhaps that slowdown in game 1 was really what messed them up.
That was, right? It was the recovery process coming out for XXS and Ame and XM. And this time there's no recovery. Like, you are suffering right now in XXS and XM. Ame has some form, but there's no tempo, no one to connect with for the SF. Look at this flank. Nouns wrapping into the triangle with a good smoke. Just keep on that aggression. 1 tier 2 left. They take a pick off here into the tower. You're completely shut out here on the side of Xtreme. Only XM really can dip his way across the map at that point. Even then, you have enough control on Nouns to still hunt him down. You have the mobility still on copy. So I like this from Nouns. They're playing to their strengths. They know their timings. Just slowly siege away, chip away at the side of Xtreme. They've found 1 tier 1 down bot. That's it. The top has not been touched whatsoever. Still at 1,000 plus HP. And there you go. Last outer tower gone at 24 minutes in. There's no reason to back off. Like, look at Yuma. Ags up, Crystallis up. He's heading like a truck. Drums up and off his attack speed.
Like, this whole time, this gyrocopter's just been off the map farming. You know, you tend to forget about him up until this point where he actually joins the team again. But he's just massive. He's just... Yeah, well, he's going to have a Satanic up soon into a Daedalus, and then you're just really not going to be able to deal with the gyrocopter at all.
No. His key timing's there. This is what the SF would want to be as a physical carry at this point, but even the Daedalus not quite up yet for Ame. They'll try with a smoke play. If they can catch some of these Nouns heroes fragmented, that's where their game can open up. Like, say, a lucky pincer onto copy, if they can somehow scout him, but just again, way too mobile. Great here to break the smokes with as well. And this long wraparound, it doesn't look like it's going to amount to much. If they turn around into the triangle, they're on the low ground position. So Nouns has the advantage again. And even then, like, you get this jump in, your physical damage isn't ready on the SF. You already have the pipe and gunner, so your magical burst is also dead in the water at this point. How do you actually kill someone when they're grouped up here from the side of Nouns? It feels impossible at the moment for Xtreme.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I suppose if you're Xtreme Gaming, like, you're kind of hoping that they make a high ground attempt this early on, and you maybe find a decent team fight off the back of a high ground defense. Roshan is available though. I don't think Nouns will be trying to pressure that high ground without taking the next Roshan, and well, you are seeing them immediately start rushing towards the pit. Xtreme Gaming just have to take the time to farm as much as they possibly can while that Roshan's being taken. I don't think there's a chance in hell that they can actually try and contest this Roshan attempt. Especially by the pit against the Monkey King Gyrocopter. Not when you're this far behind. So they'll take the time to just split push out the lanes and, you know, get some gold going on their end of things. But that is going to be a secondary Roshan. To go the way of Nouns, and with the banner coming up, it's going to make life a lot easier in terms of trying to approach high ground, because, again, I don't think Xtreme can even get close to this side at the moment.
No, they can't. And this Roche timing's perfect. Copy gets his BKB with a Roche Gold, going into the Ags next. Daedalus is up and running for Ame. So again, some physical burst is presenting itself. Presence of the Dark Lord still stuck at level 3. But, you know, you get one soft pick off, you know, maybe you kill off Fly first, additional minus armor, suddenly the fights start to look a little bit better for the side of Xtreme with that full Daedalus up. Issue is finding these openings. You have double blinks up in PYW and XM. They have to find a way to get that connection with XXS on top, with a Shivas, and just isolate one. Like that's the name of the game right now in Xtreme. Isolate one by one, break them apart, remove this teamfight presence, actually just try to play away from Gunner. I think that's the key thing. Play away from this insane attack speed Innerbeast is giving, the pipe durability that will prevent that magical burst, and hope that someone on Nouns just goes a bit too far from this Beastmaster to not be saved by any of yours.
He's Rune Tower. Will be the target. Yuma, he'll get started. Shards are out. Yuma's actually blocked in. This could be an opening that Xtreme have been looking for to try and burst down this gyrocopter. Yuma. He does go down the first time. That is the Aegis gone. As now we do see the jump in here from Copy. Pulverize, or rather Primal Beast was there, but it does not matter quite yet. XXS forced to back away. Terrorize actually going to land on 4 targets here.
This is
Bramble's going to land to boot. Yuma's in a bit of trouble. He'll pop the BKB and try to retreat. And he will make it out, but it's going to be a successful defense. The Xtreme Gaming, they actually get away with it. All off the back of that one shot from Tian Ming. Finding the Aegis of Yuma, and now they're on the chase. They want more. They're not done yet.
Dire are scanning.
And Nouns, they want none of it. They're out of it.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, that's it's surprising. I mean, that's exactly the ideal for Xtreme, right? And I just didn't expect it to be Yuma on the high ground, separated from the rest of his team that badly. Like this, the shard pickup from Tian Ming pays off dividends. Just that extra cutoff with the shards, the brambles right on top, the area control, area denial you have on the side of Xtreme does save them. No force stabs from the side of Nouns to try to get a better position there for your gyro. No kills, but you hold back the pressure. You find a tier 1 mid. The map opens up just a little bit more for the side of Xtreme Gaming. And the 10k lead at 30 minutes, it is still meaningful, to be fair. Again, you are still suffering quite a fair bit on XM and XXS. But we have also seen, especially on the puck, once this Ags comes out on XM, once he gets the Ags, once he gets something like, say, the full Parasma up with a shard, maybe down the line, more defensive items like, say, a Lincoln's into a Beastmaster here, things start to get a little bit dicey. And again, now it's played a lot faster in comparison to the last game. It's just they couldn't stick the landing onto the high ground. This is around the time Xtreme bounced back. You said it, 25 to 30 minutes the last game. We're at that same point. Net worth to start to slowly slip back from 10k down to 9k. One pickoff would swing this all the way back to maybe a 4k lead for now, and then that's where you start thinking, are we slipping up a bit too much? Are we not taking advantage of this early strength we had? I think now they have to still play confident, and they are doing the right thing, just shoving in bot, shoving in mid. Top is pushing in a bit. Push threat isn't really there just yet, so you can't afford to just slow and steady play with Gunnar. He is your foundation in this game. This Beastmaster is the one that sets the tone for these fights, for the objectives. So as long as Gunnar can just constantly apply this pressure, you're happy. They still have the banner. They'll start with nice siege here.
They'll be very wary of those shards. This time around, Yuma's going to be ultra cautious. Ag Scepter also available on this puck now. Keep in mind, you do have a Satanic now available on Yuma, so things should be relatively safe if he does get caught with his pants down. They'll drop the Roshan banner. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a slow push, but they'll get there eventually. Hoping XG make a mistake in trying to rush in. The banner really only protecting the siege creep and the range creep, but it won't matter too much. They just need one creep to survive long enough. Almost daring them to try and take down that siege creep. Arme is going to move forward, but immediately you see the Deadshot trying to pick him off. XXS trying to get within range as well. They just can't get it. But the Roshan banner eventually going down. 2 hits away. Terrorize not going to come out. Raw is there. XXS does get caught, but the Terrorize does land on 2. Forcing them away so XXS does survive. And the Roshan banner will finally die. A fair bit of damage being dealt to the T3 tower, but it is still standing.
Yeah. Stays alive. Again, is Xtreme. You're happy. You're just trying to replicate what worked out in the last game. I think the one thing for Nouns is initiation starts to get easy once Gunnar has this blink, so that is going to be a shining point. And he's not too far off, about 20 gold. Has it up now. Smoke out from Xtreme though. This Ag's timing on XM. Sure, the magic, the output of the puck isn't that high yet, but this is a turning point for the puck. This is a major spike just with a Witchblade alone. Ideally with a shard, but you can at least get something done now. And for Nouns, they've got to make this blink work on Gunnar. Get that blink roar up, burst someone down, play for more, because Xtreme did slip up a little bit, right? Like I think in that situation, with your high ground being sieged, you know, no one can clear out It's a standoff on mid. The ideal there is perhaps for XM to just play top. Yeah, play top, force a response there, or just maybe chip damage on tier 2, get some farm. So you're not actually maximizing the opportunities in Xtreme. It does leave Nouns in a pretty good spot here, as they will smoke, but they don't find anything either. So good reads from Xtreme. So again, try to equalize. Lead has not been climbing for Nouns, despite, again, having all of this map control. And now you have a full butterfly on Ame. So the physical SF is starting to reach its stride here. Number 3 net worth matching Yuma's farm. Ame's matching Yuma's farm after an atrocious start. 1-3 to 4 on SF, and he's matching this Jarcopper who's been free farming in and out of fights. It's mildly concerning.
It's pretty impressive from Ame's end of things, and not too surprising. I mean, it is Ame we're talking about, but definitely concerning signs for Nouns is it all seems to be around this time of the game where they just start to fall apart here up against Xtreme Gaming. Just that classic high ground attempt that ruins you every single time. I still can't believe high ground is still this damn hard to breach, but it really is.
It is. That was with a Roche banner last time. You know, just not enough. They didn't even have the best hitters. You know, it was XXS having to walk in and bait a roar. It allows them to kind of clear that out. And you're reaching these timings again. XM has the shard up, has a little bit more damage with phase shift as well, has the Parasma lined up next. Curious again if it's going to be a defensive pickup for XM, something like a Lincoln's, doubling down with the Yules, or if it's just something like a Mjolnir, get some damage going with the coil, get some split push potential going for the puck. Either one kind of works out here. For now, again, scaling is still there. You're not too scared of this game. Basher up on copy. Scotty coming out next. Full Daedalus up now for Yuma. He will need an MKB. Is queuing up the butterfly first, though.
Mid lane. They've dropped a Dream Coil here on Copy. He's got the BKB off, but it's an Aghanim set the Dream Coil. Copy is going to survive as now they are incoming, trying to force a fight, but it is not going to pan out. And Copy and Fly are usually the ones setting up the team fights for them, but unable to do so that time around.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate. There's no core to go along with PYW Chan Ming. Had a good flank here to maybe jump gunner, but we do miss out on that tempo just a bit. They are still playing with XXS and Ame. See if this can work out. No pulverized, no dream foil for a bit. Can be a little bit awkward.
We'll see Gunner with a quick blink out does get a roar off onto the puck that's just trying to burst down XM, but XM is still alive. Your Scepter will come out in time. Phase Shift is there as well. They can't kill him. He's going to be fine to retreat for now though, XM. No, he is going to survive. Yuma was the one dropping very low to boot. In fact, they're still chasing him down. Pulverized from XXS onto Lelis. The turnaround though from our Monkey King, but it won't matter because the Terrorize lands on 3 of forcing them all back. A very back and forth fight, and surprisingly enough, nobody will die.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
That is not good news for Nouns. Like, they got this
net worth board.
Yeah, he's climbed on top. He's managed to hit that key timing. It's this butterfly causing issues. Yuma can't get hits in, and he still has to gun for his own butterfly before considering an MKB. Roche opens up. They are scouting with a clockwork. They could try to fight in, but Dream Coil's still ready here.
Well, they're moving in. Balance Strike is there, but it's a bit early. Copy. He's trying to fight over this Roshan. The Aegis is on the deck. Ame, he picks it up. Ame has got it. They'll take out the Aegis immediately, though, and that should be a secondary death to come here for Ame, but he's going to try and man up, take down Copy. That's one gone, but he is dead. Ame at least taking the Monkey King with him. Meanwhile, Lelis, he'll find XM. It's a full team wipe. The Nouns will see if they can finally breach high ground.
They can. They only lose Copy for all of that. Again, it was a pretty confident move from Xtreme Gaming to go straight into Roche after losing quite a fair bit of HP. Being confident that, yes, they've got Dream Coil, they've got a lot of damage on Ame, but they didn't have, like, the positional control to really ensure that. Like, they have to respect this clockwork in the vision. Of course, the ability of the Monkey King. And now the high ground siege doesn't take too long. Again, the Wild Hunt plus the Overlord plus the Drum Boots does not take too long for Gunner and Yuma to just get going onto these objectives. Respawns are short. You will be down at least a Rax here with an exposed lane. You've got everything you could ask for Nouns. Now widening it to a 20k lead. Again, very different story from game one. I believe the highest delta in favor of Nouns was around 10k. So now they've doubled that to 20. It's looking a lot better here in game two if they can keep this tempo up, and they're just not backing off.
I mean, buybacks have not been committed. Arme is just holding out here as the mega creeps are going to be incoming very soon. They'll get the glyph off for the final lane of barracks. Nouns, they will not stick around. They do back off, but they've got 2 barracks up now. 20k advantage. It is officially their game to throw once again. And so they will play it ultra safe and just back off and wait for another good moment. And boy, oh boy, I mean, just one Roshan attempt cost them so much here, Xtreme. It really did start to feel like they were making the big comeback that they made in game one, but well, now it's looking a little bit like it's gone south.
And it has. You've got the butterfly for Yuma coming in, so that should also force almost like an NKB response from Ame, which, again, he's going for his own Satanic. You've got mirror builds on the Gyrocopter SF. XM is about to at least finish up that full Parasma. So only about, what, 1,000 gold away. And that's going to be a pretty big spike for our puck once that's up and ready, but it's just difficult. There's enough control. They've been chain stunning quite nicely on Nouns. Maybe this fight on the top jungle wasn't the best, not the ideal, but they still have, again, a 20k advantage overall. It's down to the suffering of XM and XXS. Like, again, this puck has not been able to get as much as it would want at this point in the game, and your Crown Beast has also had a slow game, especially in comparison to Gunner here on the Beastmaster. And we'll see a full butterfly up now for Yuma with the Satanic. I mean, he's almost unkillable on the Gyrocopter at this point. Again, one little shove is all it'll take, Aegis or not. The threat from Xtreme, it has to be perfection in terms of execution if they want to hold on to these Raxes, even playing into a team without an Aegis. It still feels a little bit threatening.
See how it goes here. I mean, now it's approaching through the bottom lane once again. They're not really going to find an opening quite yet. They do definitely want a pick off or two. Xtreme Gaming, they're going to go for a big smoke up. 5-man smoke through the bottom lane. They'll see Yuma first perhaps, but no, Yuma does retreat back into the tree line. It's going to be a bit of a counter smoke now from Nouns. Xtreme, they do have the high ground advantage, making it through to the Radiant jungle, but Yuma, he's going to see PYW. Oh, they see Ame. They have target spotted. They have found the big one. Snowball's going to buy a bit of time. XXS has jumped in, but XXS immediately bursted down. They're in the middle of nowhere here. Ame trying to run away, trying to fight back, but he's gone. And there's no buyback. That should be it. Nouns, it looks like they've pulled off game 2. They're even just chasing down this Dark Willow. But there's just no way to defend. Without these buybacks, the Mega Creeps will be incoming. Xtreme Gaming, well, they're going to try to the bitter end. They'll buy back on PYW. They'll buy back on Tian Ming. They'll give her a crack. But without Ame, like, it just feels like you'll never have enough damage. This is PYW now dropping to boot. XM almost dropping to the Gyrocopter flat cannon. Onto the Ancient they go, and Nouns, they will pull off game 2 as the GG call has been made by Xtreme. And there you go, Jonathan.